two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is Sgt McClusky. What's going on, bro?
Oh, if not video, then at least audio.
Yeah, we got you on audio, and we appreciate you for coming out on the Discord, because Sergeant's computer is still down, but the show must go on. The show must go on. So, those of you that don't know what Generation X Gaming is, we're a weekly podcast, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch us or listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. Again, Spotify, you can watch the past broadcasts. We're all caught up. So if you missed any of the episodes up to episode 356, those are all up on Spotify and all audio podcast areas. So wherever you listen to a podcast, you can listen to us and support us over there as well. We are a weekly show that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. And on today's show, Sarge, we're going to be talking about Bobby Kotick and how much he gets paid compared to other CEOs. We're going to talk about Sega. Boss says play-to-earn games are boring as Sonic devs scrap blockchain plans. We're going to talk about what Rockstar may or may not have in the next couple of months, announcements-wise. We're going to talk about BattleBit Remaster. I've been playing a crap ton of it, and we're going to kind of dive a little bit more into it, the difference between what these guys are doing compared to what Battlefield is doing. We talked about it a little bit last week, but we're going to kind of go on top of that. And also the sales numbers that they had. Since the last time we talked, Sarge, the sales numbers that they have. We're also going to talk about the sales numbers of Final Fantasy series as a whole. I did talk about those in a breakout video on my own stream, not on Generation X Gaming Podcast, but we're going to get Sarge's thoughts and whatnot. We're going to talk about EA. They announced that they're coming out with a Black Panther game, and we're not going to talk about the Black Panther game, but we're going to talk about what we think of the future of Marvel games in general with EA and around the rest of the video game industry. We're also going to talk about the unionization. Sega of America has unionized. We're going to talk about there was a leak in Brazil that there might be Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass, even though Blizzard itself says we are not coming to Game Pass. So we'll see. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about 343 Industries putting more efforts towards older content and why they would do something like that. We're going to talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. They might be working on something. And what else we got? We got Microsoft wins the FTC fight to buy Activision Blizzard. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about Xbox launching a new voice reporting feature on Xbox. We're also going to talk about Team Fortress 2, 16 years.
Team Fortress 2?
Yeah, after the game came out, they're adding more content. We're gonna talk about a brand new Switch controller that came out and was sold out within minutes, and then we're also going to talk about Microsoft says pulling Call of Duty from Steam was a failure on Blizzard's part, and we're also going to talk about the strike that's happening in Hollywood at the very end. So all those topics, we might not get to them all, but we are going to get to majority of them. And if whatever we miss, it is what it is. It's a few of the top stories in the past week. Doesn't mean it's going to be all of the top stories from the past week. We do appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. That does help us out here on this channel. So, Sarge, it's what we've been playing. Give me 1 second. All right, Sarge. Another week, another time. What have you been playing?
I mean, do you count the I guess, held it loose on my
Thanks for
clan
becoming a
days. Do
member.
you count that? I mean, otherwise than that, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft recently.
You're back to
A little
Minecraft.
lie.
It's-
Well, ever since we played with your son and we found that town, we fixed it. So then I went wandering one day just to look around, and then I found another town. So then I ended up starting to fix that one.
Right.
And so I ended up playing that for a while. I tried playing Diablo for a little while, and after like an hour, I was like, "What am I doing?" And I just stopped. Listen, it's fun, but at the same time, what am I doing? Like I don't understand
Right.
why I'm playing. Like I don't like, and I'm being biased only because I played the first 3, and I had plenty of fun.
Right.
But I don't understand why I want to play this one.
Well, okay.
Besides the fact that it looks cool, yes, it did a great job with the levels. It looks great, but I've done it. Like, you know what I mean? Like my brain's telling me I've done it. I've done this.
Well, I want to know because we watched Ackman today on stream, and he was talking about why Diablo 4 is bad.
You're talking about the 40-minute video about why it's bad?
Yeah,
Ackman?
We talked to Lono a couple weeks ago, and he said it was boring. And I know a lot of people like to come out and defend Diablo and Blizzard and stuff. I've enjoyed the game, but I do see the flaws in the game, and I am kind of like done with the game. Like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, why do I want to go back? Right. So I want to know from your perspective, why do you think that you don't have the drive to play this game? That you did like Diablo? You were a huge fan growing up with Diablo,
for sure.
Right? So
for sure. Well, the factors I see myself not trying to be biased about, I'm just looking at the game for what it is. I think first and foremost, I've played 3 of them. Right before this one, I played 3 of them, so I've played plenty of Diablo. I played the number game. I played the multiplayer aspect. I liked the story. It was new and unique at the time, but like plus age, right? Plus age of the game, plus the age of me, right? What holds my attention now than what did before? So that being said, after looking at the game objectively for the last couple weeks, it seems to me that they tried, and it's going to come out wrong, but it's the best way I can put it. They're trying to manufacture a force fun rather than just making a game that's fun and the discovery of what's in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to force it. You're trying to force me to play the game and tell me at the same time that this is fun. You must play this. And I say to them, like, I don't understand what you mean, right? What you're telling me to play is boring and it's not fun. Why can't you just let me play the game how I want to play? But they don't want you to do that.
I think Ackman in his video, when he shows like, he says, why do I care about the loot, right? And in the older games, the loot was it, right? The loot is not what it is, what the loot was, right? The loot now, visually, okay, like in your inventory and whatnot.
Are you talking about utilitarian use of the loot, or the way it looks? What are you talking about?
Everything, right? I'm talking everything about it, right? So when you got gear in the original Diablo, right? It like looked cool. You saw it in the pixelated form that it was, and compared to how beautiful it looks today. But the difference back then, they weren't making games to be live service. They weren't making games to be selling battle passes or microtransactions, right?
No, you made a game because you liked games, and so you made a product to see if people wanted to buy it.
Right. Now, it's fundamentally baked in, right? We look at games sort of like Gotham. Gotham had skins in there that was supposed to be cosmetic, and then they pulled it, and then they turned it into what it was. Suicide Squads was what it was, right? And then they kind of changed it. Marvel's Avengers kind of changed its way as well with the cosmetics way. It's just baked in. So Diablo 4, baked in wise, is a game that you have to show off your gear, hence why the camera, in my opinion, is so close to you compared to other Diablos, right? And then you can only zoom in more, so you can check out someone else's cool gear that they're wearing, and you can also check them out by looking at looking at their gear or whatnot. But visually, visually, just the art style of when it's the gear is in your backpack, it all looks kind of bland and boring, right? It looks just kind of, it's cool looking, but it's not awesome looking, right? Where Diablo in the past, when Ackman shows those two side-by-side things, he shows this is cool and this is kind of bland. It is, because fundamentally, you don't give a shit about this gear. You just care about the stats that are on that gear. You don't care the way it looks, because the way it looks, you're going to either transmog it with something in the game that you break down that's kind of cool, or they're going to show you something super badass that you're going to want to buy, either buy the skin itself or buy the battle pass and then earn the battle pass and then get the cosmetic gear to put on your character. You know what I mean?
It's so much. There's so many words. It's so many words. Like before, it was play the game, see what kind of cool stuff there was, find some cool bosses, die,
Right.
and then find out what gear you needed to get to kill that boss because you're getting owned by it. In this game, you are just mindlessly going through it, slaughtering everything and everyone with no thought about how to kill the boss or whatever. You're just slaughtering everything. There's no skill. It's just like, okay, I haven't played a Diablo game in a long time, right? After the first hour, I figured out what to do, and it became just, okay, I'm just walking around destroying everything. Like there's no learning about the guys or the moves or the armor or there's like, I'm in a poison area. I must change my armor and weapons to be anti-poison. Nope. I just walk in with the best numbers I have, and I just walk around and slaughter everything. Like, it's so basic. It's like it would be like if this was just called Diablo and it wasn't called Diablo 4. If it was just called Diablo, then it would be fine. Right? It'd be fine.
If this was the first one ever.
Yeah, the first one.
Right.
It's just Diablo.
Yeah, if this was the first one ever, you would be overwhelmed and you would be super like surprised. You'd be like, "Wow, that's a really good game." But looking back at Diablo 1, 2, and 3,
I played I played 3,
right?
And so this is like the most. I mean, for lack of a better word, besides the visuals, it looks great.
Oh yeah, the particle effects, the monsters, they all look great.
Yeah. It's bland. It's just like, what are you teaching someone who's never played Diablo before? Like, what are you teaching them when you give them this game? Like, what are you teaching them? Like, when you played an original Diablo game, you learned how to get your ass kicked, number one. Then you'd figure out what guys were susceptible to what weapons, and then you spec out that way. And then when you change region, or different levels of hell, you put a different level gear on, like a different like if I'm fighting more demons, there's more holy weapons or holy whatever. Like it's nothing. It's just everything scales to you. Great.
Yeah,
I'm bland.
That to me is the worst thing in the game.
I'm never OP. I'm never hunting for gear and then reach a point where I'm at level. Let's say I'm at level 30, but I could kick level 50's ass because I found all the awesome gear. Nope. I'm just the same, no matter the number. So there's never any wow moment that I found something that this is badass. Look how badass I am now. No, you're just the same. I don't get it. The
downside to me is that the world scales, right? I did an example earlier today. He did an example, Ackman, in his video with a bunch of different games, but one was Elden Ring, and how you walk out of the first cave, like the tutorial, and the first guy you see, I forget the guy's name. Travis said it earlier. It's the Golden Knight dude. But
Golden Knight?
I forget what his name is, though. Something tree, something. I forget the guy's name.
Tree beer, tree something.
I forget. Chad will say it. But to me, he's the Golden Knight, right? So the Golden Knight's there, and you're like, oh, let's go fight him. And you get destroyed. Because you're nowhere near the level of what you could do to take care of him. And you might sit there for a couple minutes and like, well, maybe I can I'll hide behind here. I'll go up on top of here. No, he'll slaughter you.
But you're learning.
Right.
But you're learning.
But he slaughters you, right? And you're like, okay, I can't fight this guy yet. Let me skip this guy. And it's right in the starting area. It's like right in the very beginning of the freaking thing. Tree Sentinel. Thank you very much. Right, Lurker. Oh, and Lurker, thank you very much for the 6-month membership. He says, get in your chat and join the best gaming roundup on the internet. I appreciate that very much. So, like, it kicks your face in right at the beginning of the thing, right? So,
but you
learn from it.
You learn.
Yeah, and
you're
you know it checks you. You're like, hey, go level up and then come back and fight me, right? I use the description of Destiny 1 back in the day when you went to
the hive guys with the skulls next to the name.
Yes, in the shipyard. What was that called? The area with the boats that were.
Oh God! Don't make me say.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? You would travel on your Sparrow. You would go all the way around, and in the beta, you would go around the corner, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a cave here, and then you would go in the cave, and all of a sudden you would see skulls on these hives, and you're like, holy Christ, I want to go in here. Like I want to go in here, and you're driven by that curiosity.
If I kill him, what does he drop?
Right.
That's the whole. That's the whole reason.
They're higher levels. Forgotten Shores. Thank you, Lurker. You're on ball today, man. Thank you very much. So Forgotten Shores, you go in there, right, and you see the hive, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to know what's inside that cave. You're intrigued by it. They're higher levels. You're like, all right, I'm going to come back when I level up. In Diablo, you start and you can go anywhere you want, but everywhere you look is your level, right? You're level 1, you're level 50, you're level 99. It doesn't matter. Everyone, there is no what's behind curtain number 1. It's, you go behind curtain number 1, you're like, that's a bunch of empty boxes. And then you go to behind curtain number 2, you're like, oh, it's a stand-up cardboard cutout, right? Like, there's nothing exciting. You're already there, and there's nothing really to get. So then, like, the ads in that area, you just wipe them, right? You wipe them clean, no big deal. And only until you get to elites, which is like in the dungeons or elites that come out in the world for events or anything like that, kind of give you problems because you get overwhelmed, not because it's difficult, because they just throw so many guys at you with different poisons on the ground and all this other stuff that you get murdered. But as soon as you get a couple of points or you get that one piece of gear, it becomes super easy. And then you just go through the whole game until you happen to get to a level where your gear's checked out, okay, and it's not doing the damage anymore to the ads or the bosses or whatever, unless you're doing the what's the major dungeons. I can't even think of them right now. Lurker, help me out.
We're gonna go with the major dungeons.
The
dungeon's a dungeon.
No, the dungeons to move up to a tier. The dungeons to move up to a tier. I can't think of the name right now. This is great podcast, by the way. I can't think.
Aspects?
Not the aspects. The come on, chat, help me out here. Audio listeners are like, oh God, Thordy's just messing up
horrible,
today.
Bro. Don't you play this game?
I played it, but I already forgot some of the sections of the. I don't even think Lurker's playing it, and he's going to help me. Not the raid. Well, actually, it would be the raids, Quintar. The one I helped you with. The one to get you to the next one, right? The one I helped you.
Just
it's part of the thing. Anyway, the main raid, the main dungeon to get you to the next level is like the only time you feel difficult, right? Bosses in the game are literally the easiest things in the game. You just walk up to them and then you just stand still. It doesn't matter what you have. Okay, you just stand still as long as you have the ability of you stand there and you get more powerful. You destroy them.
Yeah. That's an option. They gave me the option of standing still. The longer I stand still, the more powerful I get. Okay,
Ryan, so capstone. That's it. Here. Thank you. 1 point for Ryan. 2 points for Lurker for helping me out earlier. We're keeping score, guys. We're keeping score. Ryan's got capstone. Come on, Lurker. I thought you were gonna get the trifecta. Look. This is coming from a person, I don't hate Diablo 4 in any way, shape, or form. I'm just kind of disappointed with Diablo 4 that, and I'm not even talking about the seasons and stuff. I'm just talking about the game itself. I didn't like the leveling of the skill way before when they first announced it and said the whole world is going to be scaled with you. I was like, oh, that's a mistake, right? And because it's the worst mistake they made in the game, in my opinion, right? They could have easily made, right? They could have easily
But,
made.
but it wouldn't be new people friendly, bro.
Sure would. Sure would.
You wouldn't be able to build a new fan
No, yeah,
base
you
of
would.
Diablo people.
No, you
No,
would.
bro.
Yeah, you would.
Nobody has patience.
Because look, when we played
No.
Division, and you walked through Division, right, and you went to different missions and different things, they weren't your level. They were different levels, and you leveled up as you went.
Different people, bro.
No, but not until you were done with the whole
people.
game. Not until you were done with the whole game. Then the Black Tusk came in. Then it scaled with you constantly. So it was always a challenge for you afterwards in the end game, right? Why did Diablo decide to make everything your level the entire time, no matter what?
Because it's easier to get more people to play the game, bro. It's an entry-level game. That's why I said if there was no number 4 there and it just said Diablo, everything would be fine.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it is. It's a starter game. Like, it's for somebody who's never played Diablo ever. If you played Diablo before and you play this game, you're out of your mind. You're like, what's going on in this game? But if you've never played Diablo before, you're like, this is a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
I can just run around and slaughter everything. It's
And
awesome.
I said this to someone that's never played. If you're interested in Diablo 4 right now, for the price, okay, just playing the campaign, and you have 5 characters to go through, and just play the campaign, go on your own list, and do all the side quests and stuff. Just the campaign, I do think it's worth it if you're interested in the story and whatnot. But to me, it gets so monotonous afterwards and such a struggle afterwards that I also think they made the Eternal Realm more unfriendly. So you go play Seasons.
Yeah, but as an objective human being who plays video games, and you're not mindless, and you understand how games work now and how business works now, you're just not some consumer consuming product. If you look at this game, the whole point of the game is to just keep playing. That's it. That's all they want from you. They want some kind of like stats about how long someone plays a game for,
right,
in order for them to make changes into how to make the game better. Why wouldn't you just make a game that's good rather than making a monotone game looking for statistical data in order to correct your game? I don't understand what you're doing.
And here's another thing I think they did that EA Battlefield did, right? So Battlefield for a couple years got away from what Battlefield was, right? And to get them back, what did they do for Battlefield? They marketed it where they were like, it's like Battlefield of the old, right? They put the portal in there. They added all the old games that you could do. They showed you doing the C4 on the things and jumping them off buildings and all that stuff. And they were trying to get that crew back. In Diablo, they said it's as dark as it was in Diablo 2, because Diablo 2 is that game that everyone loved, right? Everyone loved Diablo 2. And they kept referencing it. During the whole process of advertising Diablo 4, they're like, it's going back to the roots. It's going back to Diablo 2, because the people that wanted to play Diablo were like, oh, good, it's going back to what Diablo 2 was. But it's not. It's nothing like Diablo 2. Nothing like Diablo 2. So we'll move on. Is there any other game you've been playing, Sarge?
I mean, Hell Let Loose, Minecraft, Diablo. What else was I playing? I think that was it. I think that was it
last night.
This past week.
Last night for a split 30 minutes, I went into Hell Let Loose, and boy, was that a mistake after playing BattleBit Remasters, because BattleBit Remasters, I was running around super speed, hopping through windows, doing all the stuff, and with the mouse and keyboard, and I'm going through the whole thing. I went to Hell Let Loose on controller on Xbox, and I was like brakes. I was like, what is happening right now? It was so slow. And this is after they did the update where you moved faster, right? So I haven't played Hell Let Loose in about a month and a half. Okay. And when I went in there, I was just so lost. I couldn't get my aim. I couldn't do anything. I was just like, because you've been playing another first-person shooter a completely different way. That's why. Right, because I'm playing on mouse and keyboard. So yeah, I've been playing BattleBit Remaster for the last week. That's what I've been mostly playing. I absolutely love this game. Right. I also listened to the podcast that these developers, that the 3 guys that operate this game, that make this game, and they're just super opened up about everything. Right. They talk about what they're doing. They're opened up, and nothing's like hidden from anybody. Right? You can ask questions, and they say the questions. They have live streams on Twitch. I watch the after the broadcast over on YouTube, but. So BattleBit Remaster has a channel on Twitch, and you can listen to their live streams. I think it's on Saturdays, if I'm not mistaken, when it's live. But they are just straight up, like, they're just gamers. They weren't business guys. They weren't anything. They're literally learning as they're going, right? So right now they're having issues, and one of the things he was talking about for BattleBit Remasters was that there was the longer people play, the more problems they were having with memory, because not memory leakage, but what it was doing was you play your game and then it saves your data, right? And then it moves that data over from one over to the next server, so that it keeps track of your stats, because it keeps track of all your stats. They didn't think people were going to keep playing as much as they did, and that how many people are playing. Okay. So they were getting overwhelmed with actual data of stats and stuff. And so Sergeant Okidoki, who's the lead, the main guy, he's just been spending literally days trying to save while the game's online, right? Because what he said something very smart, and I was like, I've been saying this for the entire time, like, why doesn't this always happen? He says that we have more server space than we need because I didn't want the servers to go down at all, right? And he says, while the servers are up, I'm actually working on it in the background so they don't drop, and we have extra servers. He's like, I paid for extra servers just in case, because I wanted the server stability to be awesome. And that's what's happened. There's been no, and I always say this. I'm like, why don't on opening days for games, why don't they do this? Why don't they open more servers? Because they don't want to pay and he was very front about it. He's paying $7,000 for servers that he doesn't even have money right now, right? He doesn't get paid.
Right, well, he's spending $7,000 on servers and he's broke. Meanwhile, the mega corporation is making $4 billion a year.
Yes,
can't have servers.
Right. So he doesn't get their first paycheck because it's like I think it's like a 45-day thing. So right now we're in July. He doesn't get his first check till the end of August or September for the thing. So he's constantly trying to keep this up afloat. And the other guy that works on it, I think his name was Larry. He's like, I have to go back to work. Like, this is not even his full-time job. He's like, I have to go back to my 9-to-5 job next week, right? Because he took his vacation time off his other job just so they could push out the live service, like to go live with this game 3 weeks ago, right? And I just love hearing this, because I kind of feel like when we were making our board game and stuff and putting all the time into it and stuff like that, on top of whatever we were working, I just felt these guys. I was like, man, I totally feel these guys, like going to the conventions and doing different things and trying to put all the money towards the stuff. And it's just, it's like a breath of fresh air to listen to somebody that's passionate about a game, the developers of this BattleBit Remaster, and all the stuff. They showed game modes they were working on in the background, different game modes, different types, how smooth they want. They're talking about, they're listening to the community about how they're adding the spotting, so you can spot and mark people on the map. And he goes, well, I added this. He goes, but the problem is nobody's using it. He goes, people asked for it. He goes, I work on it. He goes, but then nobody uses it. He's like, so why would I keep working on it? He's like, if you guys want this, he's like, then you have to use it so I know it's actually good or whatnot. So the transparency.
It's always a vocal minority, man. That's how it works. People are screaming into the void, and then you want something done, but it's not really a mass people want it, so it just kind of falls by the wayside.
Right. But I do like.
But we're living in clown world, because that it takes an independent developer to come out and say what everybody knows is fact, and says it out loud, so everyone now confirms it. Like, okay, so you can get more servers if you want to, but you guys choose not to.
You choose not to. Right. So what the game does, what other games don't, like in other games, if you get a rangefinder, no one ever equips it, right? In this, if you get a rangefinder and then you get the scope and you can zoom in, you can actually dial in your actual length. So when you're a sniper, even if you're not a sniper, but if you're a sniper, you can literally look at the rangefinder and say, let's say it's 350 or 300, right? Then you lock it in, like you scroll through to get your dial to 300, and then every time you shoot, it's perfect, right? And you'll get headshots and stuff. It's super smooth, right? The rangefinder is so helpful, Stubby. Like, what they've done in this game, if you just take the graphics out of it, I know a lot of people don't like it because of the graphics, but the gameplay is so good, so smooth, okay? And shooting people and getting hits, and then the armor and the leveling system, everything about this game, you look at other games, you're like, why can't they do this, right? And it's because they have to sell battle passes. They have to sell live service games. They have to sell cosmetic skins. They have to do all this stuff, and they're not just focusing on the fun factor of the actual game. Now, you look at this game; it's only $15, right? And this game, kind of going into the game top stories here, but this game sold 3 million copies in 3 weeks. Okay, and they probably sold more now, right? 3 million copies in 3 weeks for an independent developer. Where we read an article earlier this week on the stream that most people on Steam don't even sell 2,000 copies of a game, let alone 3 million copies. So these guys are definitely outliers of what Steam is. And they actually, I learned this because I think Hilly said this to me the other day. He says they get 25%, or I think it's 30%. 30% they pay to Steam for the first I think it's like 10,000 to whatever units or whatever it is, and then it drops from 1 million units to 5 million units. It drops to 25%, and then anything over 5 million units, then it drops down to 25%. Or 20%. That's what it is. It's 30, 25, and then 20%. So they actually get a lesser cut, or more of a cut, the more they sell after a certain period on Steam. So these guys right now are struggling, right? But they've made it.
Of course they're struggling.
Yeah. But they've made it. They just have to wait for their first paycheck. And he's already talking about hiring people that are just going to do, for cheating. He's going to hire 2 guys to just work on cheating. So people that are cheating, he goes, but cheating's not a big thing because it's not a competitive game. He's like, and people can't make money off this because it's not competitive, right? So he's saying it's not going to be like a Call of Duty type of thing, but he doesn't want cheating to go rampant like it does in other games. And they've already done ban waves, ridiculous ban waves. I was in a game, there had to be 400 or 500 names that just popped off because they were cheating.
People get bored. They want a power trip. That's what everyone does, dude. It's normal.
So
normal.
So I'm playing that. We're gonna play a little bit of Exo Primal this weekend, and I'll have some footage for you guys next week. There's no show next week for Generation X Gaming. I'm out of town, so we'll be off for another week, and then we'll be back on the 27th, I think it is. So anything else you've been playing, Sarge?
I don't think so.
All right, let's go to top stories. All right. So the first story, Sarge, this just made me laugh. This is just a Twitter post. And it says Activision Blizzard pays their CEO, Bobby Kotick, over 60 times more than Nintendo's CEO, right? So Bobby Kotick gets paid $155 million by Activision. That's not including his bonus of like 300 and whatever million. Okay. And the Nintendo CEO gets $2.51 million, right? And just to put it in perspective, Nintendo had net sales nearly double that of Activision Blizzard, and Nintendo recently published an annual report highlights the comparatively modest executive compensation and for comparison of the Western game companies, right? So here's a list of other game companies that are out there, right? People that are CEOs. You got Playtika, which the CEO makes $372 million. You got Bobby Kotick with $154.6 million. You got Andrew Paradise for Skills, $103.3 million. You got Android Wilson at EA makes $34.7 million. Frank from Zynga has $32 million. John, I don't know how to say that last name, but from Unity, $22 million. Strauss Zelnick from Take-Two, which has the most profitable, or
Ricky Tiello.
Right? Ricky Tiello, thank you. Strauss Zelnick, who Grand Theft Auto, who is the most entertainment piece of entertainment, 180 million copies sold. He makes 18.1 million. You got NC Soft, 15.6 million. You got Razer with 10.4, and then you have Team 17 with 10.2 million. So it's pretty ridiculous that Bobby Kotick makes 154.6 million with that. And meanwhile, Nintendo, who, what did they say, made how much more? Double what Activision made with Nintendo, and he makes literally 2.51 million.
Listen, first of all, I want to know why all of a sudden now we're discussing salaries for CEOs. This stuff's been going on forever. Like, I'm not a socialist. Let me make one thing perfectly clear here. I believe in capitalism. But I also believe that one person in a company isn't worth 65 times more than somebody else in the company, right? So to me, if there's some kind of way to, I don't want to say profit share, but some type of stipulation on smaller companies or larger companies where like a person can only be making like maybe 10 times more or maybe 15 times more than the lowest paid employee, something, right? Because when you have this astronomical thing, like let's be honest, if Bobby Kotick wasn't there, would the game get made?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the game would get made. His existence in the company, whatever you think he does, his masterful plans on marketing or whatever else, like he doesn't make the game, right? So I'm not saying everyone gets paid the same. I'm not saying that. Right? I believe in meritocracy.
No, of course.
I believe in people earning their way. But when we get to these huge numbers, like for instance, let's say for instance that the deal fell through for the Microsoft Activision deal, and Bobby Kotick would get $30 million just because.
No, $3 billion.
It's in the contract.
$3 billion. Yeah.
No. It's $30 million. He gets $300 million. The deal goes through. No. It was 30 if it failed. 300 if it went through.
It was $3 billion if it didn't go through.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Not $3 billion, bro.
I'm going to show you.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way, dude. Not for falling through. You don't get $3 billion. I'm sorry. You got too many zeros, bro.
Okay.
Too many zeros.
Keep talking.
Yeah. 30 million, yes. 300 million when the deal closes. 30 million if the deal fell through. You don't get 3 billion if it doesn't go through. You don't get 3 billion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Activision Blizzard. Let's see. Activision gets 3 billion.
No way, crap.
Microsoft
no way.
To pay between $2 and $3 billion if Activision doesn't go through. These are facts, Sarge. I only speak in facts.
Not to him.
To the company, which is him.
To him.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes.
We already talked about this in a prior show, specifically about him, right? If the deal goes through, he gets 300 million. If it failed, he personally gets 30 million. That was talked about. We talked about it. 3 billion goes to the company. That's not him. We're talking about him.
Kodak is asked by Activision Blizzard, would you do the remain independent and collect the $3 billion breakup fee? If I weren't to get done by the end of the year, I think it'll be sitting something like 18 billion of cash, says Kodak. And I think you're looking at 30-year history. We have deployed capital of our benefit and shareholders, and very well, and we'll continue to do so. Partially, since the $3 billion would be significantly downgrade for almost $69 billion, Microsoft would be paying for acquire the company. So, if the deal didn't go through, he gets $3 billion for the company, and then he gets a cut of that. Yes, you are correct, but the company's getting $3 billion if the deal didn't go through. And Bobby Kotick is Activision Blizzard. He's the board, and he gets a huge. I think it was $300 million, regardless if he didn't get it, and he gets a bigger check if it actually goes through.
Yeah, which is still nonsense. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah. So the whole thing of him making that much money and not being a person that makes the actual physical items is ridiculous to me. Right. $3 billion for just talking about it is crazy. Yeah.
Listen, all I'm saying is if Bobby Kotick wasn't there, the game would still get made.
Yeah.
So whatever your perceived value of an individual is in a company is definitely skewed when we're in this region of business. Right? When we're talking about CFOs and CEOs of companies and they believe they're figureheads and that's how stock prices are maintained, so they assess value based on credibility and sustainability and whatever words you want to put in there. But the actual job of that individual is not worth that price tag for what he actually does in the company, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I'm trying to see if the If he stands to receive $375 million once the deal gets signed, $375 million once the deal is signed.
Right, but if everyone got the finger and the deal collapsed, they went, here's your $30 million. Thanks for playing. Right? If if I was fired from a job, okay, if I was fired from a job and my oopsie-doodle last paycheck was $30 million, like, you don't got to do shit for the rest of your life. Like, I don't understand the level of entitlement for what they perceive the value to be to an individual in a company. It's just mind-boggling to me. And we just talk about like it's normal, like he's a very important person, and without him the company would fail. We go, sure it would. Like, I'm sure if Bobby Kotick left tomorrow and we didn't hire the Nintendo guy who got paid 300 times less, that the company would just collapse because no one would know how to make games anymore.
Here's the article that we read last year. It said Kotick was already one of the most well-paid CEOs of the gaming industry back in 2021 after the shareholders complained about Bobby Kotick's high pay.
You don't need money, Krebsy.
Kotick voluntarily reduced his salary by 50%, but still left him with a salary of $875,000. For comparison, the median salary at Activision, the medium salary at Activision was around $91,000 according to salary.com. Right, so he gave himself a 50%
our numbers off of.
50% discount. He's still making $875,000 for comparison, and then the head
which is
8 times,
which is 8 times more, is 8 times more than an average employee.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just reading the facts of what it was, like you were saying.
We're living in clown world, man. Just clown world, and you always have these stories that come out like right now, where like companies are just firing people, just constantly firing people. We're getting ready to merge. Got to fire another 4,000 people. Every time I hear this every time there's a merger or the new year comes around and a game gets released, we know as adults now, not before because we didn't give a shit before, but as adults, we know January 1st, after all the games are released in the Christmas period of time, we know there's going to be firings going on at all the companies that we love to talk about, who are our favorite companies are, because we love their games, but inevitably 6,000 people are going to lose their jobs because it's January. It's January. It's just time.
Holidays are coming. Bonus checks are supposed to come out.
Right. Well, it's no big deal. It's like we got a game coming out. Now it's time to fire a bunch of people. It's like, what are you guys talking about, man? Like, you know for a fact that those guys have the company itself makes plenty of money. They get rid of those people before the fourth quarter numbers come in so they can divvy up the money amongst the other people for whatever bonuses they want to give themselves. Right? You can say it's to cut corners. You could say it's to save on labor. You could say whatever technical term you want, but the cycle has not repeated for the last 20 years. I've been keeping track. And so I don't pay attention anymore because I know that they're lying, right? Like, I know for a fact that after Starfield is released, before the end of the year, they're going to tell us about some Bethesda people being let go or something's going to happen. Like, that's just the way it goes.
For sure.
That's normal.
Once production ends, they have to let people go because there's nothing going on until they need them back.
Well, they say we're going to let people go, but don't forget there's a lot of contract work.
Yeah.
It's all contract work, right?
All right, we
don't actually hire anybody. It's contracts.
Let's go to the next story, which is Sega of America. Sega of America has unionized. So Sega of America officially unionizes following a recent vote, joining a growing list of companies striving to better work conditions. Sega America officially unionized, and there has been countless reports of allegations of low pay, long hours, and poor working conditions within the gaming industry over the past several years. What do you think I have a question.
You don't say.
And I'm not trying to make fun of this, but what do you think the poor working conditions are? Do you think it's like they don't have a coffee bar or like a massage therapist in studio? Like, what do you think like the poor working conditions are?
Well, we would have to establish what the working conditions are first, and then I would have to establish what the working conditions were 5 years ago,
like a working bathroom. They don't have a kitchen to cook food. Like,
I would need to know the mean they're talking about. What they're referring to is the fact that they don't want to hire any more people, so we have to have the 150 to 250 people that we do have to work 75-hour weeks in order to get a game to come out when we say it has to come out, as opposed to when the game is actually done. We work until the game is done. Yeah, we put in some overtime. Yeah, we put some extra hours in, but we don't do 75-hour weeks for 6 months. And then when you get sick, you eat through your sick days. And then when you're actually sick and want some time off, you can't have it because you already used them. Right? That kind of thing. Now, if we're talking about poor working conditions in the old terms, it would be like there's no air conditioning. We only have one bathroom. Steve doesn't use deodorant. Like there's like
sitting on a box for your chair or something. Right.
Like poor working conditions. Like if you're in an air-conditioned room, air-conditioned building, and you have food and there's a bathroom and there's water plentiful, you can't really say it's poor working conditions.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe you can say like inconvenient.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they're working on like 27-inch monitors and they really need 32-inch monitors. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what that poor working conditions mean unless you show me a picture of a dilapidated like work where the ceiling panels are like down, the windows are painted shut, you can't get out, there's no working bathroom.
No,
like,
I get it.
Right? Like that's what I picture when you say poor working conditions. Let me read on here. It says Sega of America announced the intentions to join the list of back in April, with unionized vote gaining supermajority of support from the Sega Works of Irvine, California. Now, this vote has also casted partnerships with the Communication Workers of America and spans multiple departments like Q&A testing, marketing, and localization. The workers forming the union, which is also called the Allied Employees Guide Improving Sega, argue that unionizing is the best way to ensure that Sega employees are given due benefits like full-time status and paid leave when it turns to ensure that the studio is producing the best games they can. The final vote to determine Sega America unionization took place on July 10th and reported that the IGN, more than 200 workers participated in the 91 voting yes and 26 voting no. What's wrong with those 26 people? They're like, we don't want unions. I don't want better pay. I like the coffee maker with a cockroach in it. 19 ballots were challenged and 3 were rendered void. As a result, is now the largest multiple department union organized workers in the gaming industry and will now enter contract negotiations with Sega of Japan. In the meantime, former Sega localization specialist and unionization supporter Katrina Lindowski took it to Twitter to collaborate outcomes of the vote. Let me see what else they have here. In any case, the election marks the formation of Sega of America and Workers Union following much organization and deliberation. It remains to be seen how the AEGIS official formation will impact the quality of working conditions within Sega of America, but hopefully it means that the employees behind the company in brand marketing and game service localization, marketing, product development, ops, sales, and quality assurance divisions will get better representation and fair treatment from this point forward. I really just want to know, like, because you look at companies like Bethesda, right? And you see like background, they have like and like Bungie, where they have like masseuses and like espresso machines and like state of the art, like everything. Like, is that what they're looking for when they say working conditions? I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. I just think it's weird.
But the story is always the same. Historically speaking, originally unions were there because businesses would do whatever they had to in order to get a job done, and so they'd break all kinds of rules and make people do things overtime, and there's a whole list of stuff. And so unions came around to basically stabilize the fact that you were getting bullied by corporations. Right? Then the black eye came, and they started turning into unions started becoming greedy and corrupt, just like everybody else does. And so then it became this thing where, well, unions just cause prices for things to go up because they keep raising prices, and the poor business can't survive because he's got to worry about the union. And so they go back and forth this way. And so for a long period of time, unions got destroyed, right? Over the last 20 years or so, unions in general have been completely destroyed. And so now we're starting to see that people are starting to side the other way again, where they're trying to establish some kind of mean work condition. And I don't mean by your attitude, like your average, your average working condition. And so we're going back the other way. So in some sense, it's a good thing. But once again, it's always a give and take, especially in this world, in this industry, because once again, we are talking about an entertainment product. We're not talking about something that's like life sustaining,
Right.
or we're talking about something that's critical for the society. We're talking about just entertainment. And so if Bobby Kotick can put away $155 million for talking on a phone and signing his name, okay, then other people should be able to get paid a decent wage in the cities or states that they live in,
Right.
where the company resides.
Well,
right? That's all. That's basically what it comes down to. So now I can guarantee you there's going to be pushback on the Sega union. I can guarantee it.
What?
Because they don't want to have to deal. We're going to see who really is in charge. With that kind of vote, though, with the 91 to 26 vote or whatever that was, right? That's showing that people really want to have some say in working conditions, is what that really says.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, because we're going to talk about unions later in the show with SAG and AFTRA and the Writers Guild and stuff in the film industry, but they're talking about AI stuff. And AI is going to be implemented in video games as well, right, to make video games and whatnot. So I think a lot of people are trying to push for unions right now, because once that AI gets tethered into the gaming universe,
and smart enough to code,
where you don't need,
do you need a coder?
Well, it's already happening, right? Do you need, because this is what's happening, well, like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit later with the AI. The next story I want to talk about is Final Fantasy series has sold over 180 million units worldwide. I talked about this on my morning stream earlier this week. I was actually surprised to know that I thought every Final Fantasy was selling like 5-10 million copies, and that's just not the case, right?
No, I told you, it was a niche game, bro.
Yeah, so it is a niche game, but the 3 million, so Final Fantasy 16 sold like 3.2 million, 3.3 million, something like that, and
which is pretty good.
It is very, very good, especially considering that PlayStation, it's only on PlayStation 5 at the moment, right? And PlayStation 5, there's only 38.5. There might be 40 million units out there. So we're talking like 8% of the population of PlayStation 5 bought Final Fantasy 16, which is awesome. You know what I mean? For that size. Now, if the PlayStation had as many PlayStations out there, PlayStation 5, as PlayStation 4 with 122 million or whatever it was, then that number would look obviously very, very minute. But
did you say that there was only 38? No, there's more. There's got to be more than that, bro. Or are you talking about just PlayStation 5?
No,
right?
It's only on PlayStation 5. It's only on PlayStation 5. So they sold 3.2 or 3.3 million units out of the 38.5 million.
Okay, so hang on. So what you're saying is based on the numbers that they currently have. So you know that there's 38 million PlayStation 5s in existence that people have?
Correct.
And out of those people, 3.8 million people got Final Fantasy?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, no, that's
like 10. That's like 8. That's like 9%.
Yeah,
8.5,
9. It's 8.5, like 9%. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm really impressed that out of 38.5, like I'm saying, if they had 122 million out there and they only sold 3 million, that's still awesome. I mean, 3 million is 3 million. I would love 3 million of anything, right? But for the small amount, right? That's the diehard fans. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I said if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're buying a PlayStation, right? And obviously that's what it seems like they did. And I think a lot of the people that don't have a PlayStation yet, which I think is about another 2 to 3 million people that would play Final Fantasy, don't own a PlayStation 5 yet because of whatever reason, right? Maybe they're out of money right now. Maybe they're saving up. Maybe they're waiting to see if the next PlayStation Pro or something, the Slim, is coming out. But I'm impressed. I thought it was definitely going to sell like 5 million. I thought it was going to be more, but at the same time, there's not that many units out there to make that sale go up, because the people that like Final Fantasy already have the system, and the people that were going to get Final Fantasy may not have the system yet. So, but really, really surprising number to me. The overall of 180 million units total for the entire series. I thought that was a little low, because I thought for sure it would be like, I don't know. I didn't think it was Call of Duty numbers, but I thought it was like 7 to 10 million every time a Final Fantasy game came out. Go chat real fast.
You would think, because of the way they talk about
it. The way it's talked about, right? The way that people love Final Fantasy so much, I thought for sure it was more. So Dupla says, imagine how much more it would sell if Sony didn't pay to keep it off of the platforms. I don't think it would sell that much, Dupless. Let me do some research real fast, right? I think we looked it up last week. I don't think Final Fantasy, what was it? Final Fantasy 15? Is that what it was? The last one that came out? Was that with the boy band? Which one was that? Was that 14? Was that 15?
No, that was 15.
15, right? Final let's see. Final Fantasy 15 sales. Action role-playing game Final Fantasy 15, stylized as Final Fantasy 15, was sold over 10 million copies as of May of 2022, and the game is in the 15th mainline installment. Now, 15 million units, or I'm sorry, 10 million units, over 10 million copies sold over all the consoles, right? Now we're talking PlayStation 4, PlayStation, Xbox 3, Xbox One. So we're talking close to 200 million people that between PlayStation and Xbox sold, where they only sold 10 million. You see what I'm saying? That's about a 10%, 8 to 10%. Percentages of percent.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy 15 was on Xbox.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's saying that it would sell a crap ton more. Yes, it sold.
It did sell more.
It
did sell more.
But it also went to 200 million units total. So you're selling 10%. And right now, the number's around 8.5 to 10% based on the numbers that it. So my point is that, yes, it would sell more, but the population of Final Fantasy is that niche market. And no matter what it is, it's the same. It doesn't matter if you're selling 300 million units total between PlayStation 4 and 5 and Xbox One and Series X. 10% of the market is Final Fantasy fans of that number.
Roughly, if the Final Fantasy is good enough, yeah.
Right, give or take, right? And that's what it is. Let me see what else chat is saying. Playing Final Fantasy 16 is great. Creature says, Sony doesn't pay to keep off anything as Square Enix offered to Microsoft first, and they said no, stop with the bullshit Twitter lies. Yeah, the talk about them buying stuff off of Xbox. I mean, Insomniac went to Microsoft first, and Microsoft said we weren't interested, right? Final Fantasy went to Microsoft, and they said, no, we're not interested. And then Sony got it, and they're like, oh, they're keeping it off of Microsoft. No, Microsoft didn't want it. They said they didn't want it, right? At that time, they weren't interested in those games, in that market. That's what they weren't interested, right? So that's not a Sony problem. That's literally Microsoft negating that they said they don't. They've done it multiple times. And they've saved Sony an embarrassment, right? With Redfall. Redfall was supposed to be on Sony, and then Microsoft was like, no, we'll take that away from them. And then PlayStation, I said, should give them a fruit basket. Say, hey, thanks for keeping that piece of shit off our system, right? So overall, I think Final Fantasy, good for them for selling 3 million. I thought it was going to be more, but at the same time, I thought there was more consoles out there that they were selling to. So
I think they're probably looking at 5. They probably wanted 5. Probably what they were looking for.
Sure.
But once again, there are people. There's always the trail offs, right? The people that don't get it right away. You have the people who don't on rank on the same console, and then you have is it on PC yet? Is Final Fantasy, was it released on PC as well, or is it just PlayStation?
No, it's just PlayStation 5.
So what you end up with, you end up with a percentage of people who have Xbox and have a PC who like Final Fantasy, that when Final Fantasy goes to PC, they'll buy it on PC. Like the people who actually want a Final Fantasy game but they don't own a PlayStation, like that's what they wait for. They wait for it to go to PC, then they buy it on that.
Yeah.
There's still probably a number. I'm guessing probably by the end, they'll probably sell about 5.5 to 6 million copies total.
That's what I'm saying.
That's about right. That's about right.
Yeah, I think they would sell double what they have now if it was out on multiple consoles, right? If it was on multiple consoles or PC, the other people that like Final Fantasy, because again, people know that Final Fantasy is on PlayStation. I mean, besides the couple that went over to Xbox, right? Or the ones that were on Nintendo in the old days.
Final Fantasy's got good numbers, man. I've played every Final Fantasy. I tried it. Well, I'll rephrase. The only one I haven't played at all was the online one, right? But I've tried every other one that's come out.
Yeah, you're talking about Final Fantasy 14.
If I didn't own it myself, then I've played it on somebody else's console just to try it out.
Yeah. What I'm saying though is Final Fantasy is. Again, has that niche market, and those people are always going to buy Final Fantasy, right? Always going to buy. Obviously, the Final Fantasy 14 is a different genre, or a different beast because it's MMO, right? People that like MMOs drift towards MMOs, and if they like an MMO,
I always wanted to try the Final Fantasy MMO, but I wasn't really to sit down and dictate more time for myself and another monthly price for a game. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time. Like I like Elder Scrolls, and that a whole new section just opened up. I've never touched it. I haven't touched it at all. I didn't download it. I just don't have the time. I'm sure it's probably fun to go through. I'm sure it's a good area, but I don't have it. I just don't have it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with MMOs. Boss says Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, is the best experience in my life for MMOs. I just don't have the time it deserves. Right, and that's what Sarge is saying. Right, he just doesn't have the time to put towards it.
But I hear all kinds. I hear all kinds of good things about the Final Fantasy online game.
That's another thing, though. Final Fantasy fans love Final Fantasy 14 because it's Final Fantasy, and then there's MMO people that just like MMOs, and then they happen to play Final Fantasy as well, and then they fall in love with that game as well.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any numbers for Final Fantasy Online, like where it stands amongst the other games.
Oh, it's
here. I haven't looked yet.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
I'm not sure if it's beating WoW now or not. I'm not sure because WoW has been in a steady decline for a while now.
Let's see player numbers. Right now, final estimated daily player count for Final Fantasy 14: The Realm Reborn to be about 1.2 million, with a total player base of 43 million.
That's a lot of people. What about WoW?
Let's see.
I think WoW's probably in the same.
WoW player base right now is at 127.10 million. World of Warcraft is estimated to have 127 million total players or subscribers, but I don't know what their number is daily. Let's see. 7 days ago, total player count is over 120 million subscribers. I don't know what the daily count is. World of Warcraft daily range could be anywhere between 700,000 and 3.5 mil.
Okay.
So
still there.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's the money. That's Microsoft's money now. Craig Tone, thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's Microsoft money now, Sarge. That's no longer Blizzard money.
Yep.
The next story I want to talk about is that not so much that the game was announced, because we kind of knew this game was announced, but now it's confirmed, right? So there's a Black Panther game being created by EA, right? So EA went from Star Wars, and they made those 5 games over 10 years? They made Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, Squadrons, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, right? There's 5 games. I think there might be one more in there that I'm missing, but like mobile games or whatever. But they made the Star Wars games, and now they're making the Marvel. They've shifted over to Marvel, right? Because we know that they're making an Iron Man game. We know that they're making a Black Panther game, and there's supposed to be another supposedly multiplayer game that's being made. I don't know if it's by EA, but they have 3 games of Marvel, and there's other Marvel games coming out. Obviously, there's Spider-Man 2. There's Wolverine coming out from Insomniac. My question to you, Sarge, and me and Krebsy have talked about this multiple times over, I think, several years, right, Krebsy? Where we talked about the MGU, the Marvel Gaming Universe that we've always talked about. My question to you, Sarge, is do you think, because correct me if I'm wrong, Krebsy, because I remember you saying that you want like Insomniac, like one company to do it, and I said it wouldn't be possible if one company could do it. I said to be faster about it, multiple teams could do it across the board. Now, my thing is, Sarge, that Marvel is reaching out to a lot of these companies to make Marvel IPs, right? Like they're reaching out to Insomniac, said you did a good job with Spider-Man, so now let's do Wolverine, and now they're doing Black Panther. They're doing a Captain America Black Panther game. They're doing a Iron Man game. They're doing I think there's like a Fantastic Four game in the works somewhere, rumors or whatever, right? So do you think that it's plausible, Sarge, that what I said, where they're kind of making the MGU, the Marvel Gaming Universe, where, and the way I look at it is, because Marvel is talking to all these people, they can hire the same actor. So the voice actor that does like Wolverine can do the Wolverine voice in another game, and the person that does like Deadpool or Captain America or whoever can use the same voices in other games to kind of connect them like the tissue. Do you think this is something that's possible, and then they make a Avengers game with the same actors? So it doesn't really matter if the game is like a 2D or if it's a side scroller, if it's an open world. It's the same voice actors from all the games, and they kind of bring it all together into these games.
Land the plane. What's the question?
Well, the question is, do you think they'll make a Marvel Gaming Universe like they did for the Marvel Cinematic Universe? You think they will connect all games in some way, shape, or form?
Under current conditions, I don't know if publishers are willing to risk the money in order to try to sell Spider-Man type games with different characters because of the fatigue of superhero movies in general, the writing of the stories of all the superhero things that have been going on recently, and the fact that they have to figure a way to make a game that's budgeted well enough to where if it doesn't sell like Spider-Man does, that they still recoup their money.
Right.
I don't think they're willing to risk what it takes to make that game. They might pick 1 or 2 heroes to test the water, and it would have to be a really good hero because they already they've already used the ones that they know, right? They already done it. They've done Batman, they've done Spider-Man. They know those are household names. They got a good fan base, but now they want to because they have to increase profits, bro. That's the rule. Right? We have to increase profits. So now we have to branch out into other heroes for this genre. Can we make the same amount of money with those that we can with Batman and Spider-Man? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think you can. Right? Is a Wolverine game going to be badass? Maybe. Is the fan base for Wolverine as high as Spider-Man?
No.
Maybe. Don't think so.
I don't think so.
And are you going to make that game in such a way that it brings back the fun factor of you wanting to be a superhero and you become enamored with it, and so you're looking forward to that company making another game with a hero so you can play that one? Like, I know what you're saying. You're saying that you want to make single-player hero games, and after you get 5 or 6 that are really good, then you go back and you make another Avenger game like that?
Yeah,
I think that that's already been played out.
Or even
they had the chance. They fucked it up because they weren't willing to commit to what it would take to make that game the way it was supposed to be. Right? They half-assed it. They rolled the dice and they say, we're not getting 25 times our money. We're only getting 6. And so we don't care. We're not going to put any more money towards this. That's what they said. That's exactly what they did with Avengers.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I do believe this, right? So we don't know anybody who's doing the voiceovers for Black Panther. We don't know anybody that's doing the voiceover for Iron Man. But Iron Man, I believe Nolan North did the voice of Iron Man in Future Revolution, and he also did the voice, obviously, in Marvel's Avengers. Now, if he comes back and does the Iron Man voice again as Tony Stark, I should say, then that to me would be more indicative of they are doing a Marvel gaming universe where they're taking the character that is the guy who plays, like, no matter what happens, whoever does the voice of Optimus Prime is always the same Optimus Prime. You know what I mean?
But not for much longer. He's getting up there.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, obviously they're not connective tissue of like the movies to the television show, but Optimus Prime is Optimus Prime. So my point is, if Christopher Judd, who did the voice of Black Panther in the Marvel's Avengers game, gets casted and does the voice again for this Black Panther game, in my head at least, then they are doing the Marvel gaming universe because they want to keep it cohesive across the thread across all the lines.
Well, that being said, then I hope that the strike that's going on also incorporates jobs that are in the video game sphere. This way, they're covered against all AI infringement to their own profession.
Right.
Like if there's a guy that they use to be the Black Panther voice in a video game, then if they use another video game with Black Panther, then they're gonna have to call him first and see if he wants to do it. Like he gets first dibs,
right?
Like something to that effect.
Well,
because you don't get to just pick a guy and throw him away, just like the actor thing that's happening now with an AI voice. Like you have to go through him first. I'm hoping that this strike thing goes well for them.
I don't want to get into that yet, but James Gunn talked about this when he made his DC Universe announcement earlier this year, talking about how things are going to cross over. So people that are casted in the movies also do the voices and stuff like that. And I had a video about that, talking about they potentially could link the DC Universe cinematic stuff to the DC video games and have the same voices and whatnot. I don't know. I just think it would be cool to do that because I think that would give more validity to like making. Obviously, the universe for cinematic is different than the gaming universe, as Boss says. Like, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, right? Like he is Tony Stark in the cinematic universe. But I think Nolan North is Tony Stark in the gaming universe, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just think that'd be cool if they did something like that. Let's go on to the next one. So Diablo 4 is hinted for Xbox Game Pass in Brazil app. Now, Mike Ibarra from Blizzard has denied that the recent reports of Diablo 4 heading to Game Pass. However, with Activision Blizzard merge seems more likely after Microsoft win against the FTC, and the game could still join the subscription in the coming months. And he says this is not happening, right? Well, down below, it says the application recently showed a banner claiming that Diablo 4 is available on a subscription service. Now, the application may have released promotion ahead of schedule, hinting at the game joining the service at a later date. Now, obviously, I've always said this. Okay, I've always said this. It's their game until it's not, right? Pete Hines thought that Bethesda games were going to be on all platforms. He thought Starfield was going to be on PlayStation. He thought that Redfall was going to be on PlayStation, and then Microsoft said no. And now we're in the same situation where once this deal goes through and Activision Blizzard is owned by Microsoft, to say that Diablo 4 is not coming to Game Pass, and Mikey Barra, I mean, he's saying it, he said it's not happening. Who do you think's right here, Sarge? Do you think that the app that leaked in Brazil, that that Diablo 4 is heading to Game Pass, or do you believe Mikey Barra, who works at Blizzard, and says it's not happening?
All right, well, first and foremost, no matter what anybody says about anything inside the company, I don't believe what they say. They can say whatever they want, right? But to actually believe them as an individual, that I trust what they say, not going to happen. Scroll back up and look at Mike Ybarra's, look at his tweet. Go back up there and look what the tweet says, right? Does it say that is not going to happen ever?
No.
Does it say that? Does
Nope.
it say ever?
It just says not happening. Yeah.
Not happening. No, that just means not happening yet. All right. So those people who are in chat and those people who get to watch, right, leave a comment, right? Leave a comment and think, do you believe for one moment that Diablo 4 will never go onto Game Pass?
Yeah.
Do you believe that for one moment? I personally don't believe that at all. I believe that Diablo 4 will be on Game Pass probably within the year, right? Maybe
within
even
this
sooner.
year or within 12 months.
It depends. It depends on if they get the money that they want from the game initially, because they have a number in their head. They have a number of what the entry thing is for people buying Diablo, and they have a number in their mind once the store starts trying to sell the stuff that they want to sell. And if that number doesn't hit, and the retention number goes down, I can guarantee it's going to Game Pass. Absolutely, Fate. We know this.
Right.
We know this.
Well, here it is.
We know this.
I think Season 1 doesn't go very well for them, and Season 2 doesn't go very well for them. By Season 3, it will be on Game Pass. By Season 3, it'll be on Game Pass.
Exactly, Stubby. They never use the word never, ever, not a chance in hell. It's just like, no, just what that tweet says by Mark Yamara is basically, well, not right now. Right? That's what that tweet says. That tweet says, well, not right now.
Right.
Except it says that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's mad about it because he didn't want the cat coming out of the bag so soon. They have to make their money first.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it might be by holiday season. It all depends on what Microsoft, because look, Blizzard as the company looks at this and goes, well, this is how we're going to make our money through the cosmetics and game sales. Well,
right.
What Microsoft was looking at going, well, look, it's already been out for 5 months, and here's the game sales that you had. Now that we own you, we need people to come out on Game Pass, and you're putting your game on Game Pass, and you can still sell your cosmetics, but the game is going on Game Pass because we need people to get on Game Pass, right? That's it.
Yes. Yeah, because they need people to want to get Game Pass.
Because the future of Xbox is not selling games. The future of Xbox is selling Game Pass.
That's correct.
I've been saying this for 5 years. Only now people are starting to catch on. So,
I mean, and by the way, it's not going to matter that it goes on the Game Pass, because once enough people had bought the game already anyway, what's the difference, right? What's the difference? You've already bought the game, so that all they're saying is from this point forward, this game can be included in Game Pass. They already got the upfront money from people who have been waiting for Diablo 4. Those people that have no idea what Diablo 4 is have a Game Pass subscription and just go, oh, look, there's that game Diablo I keep hearing everyone keep playing about.
Yep.
And lo and behold, you're inside the ecosystem. That's all it is.
Yep.
That's all it is another avenue into the system. That's it.
It's now another bought first-party title they can now put onto Game Pass and fill Game Pass with the first-party title games they have.
And we can get rid of all this crap that's on there in the garage sale that no one cares about, but it's on there to make Game Pass look valuable.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's what it is. Right?
All right. Let's go to the next story. Next story is...
That's correct, Dupless.
343 Industries is helping restore a bunch of cut Halo 1 content. A group of dedicated... It says molders, but I think it's supposed to be modders to help 343 Industry restore cut content for the game Halo series Halo Combat Evolved. It says Halo Combat Evolved is so popular with the fan base that it's uncommon to find more fans playing Halo Remastered Chief Collection over than Halo Infinite, the newest game in the franchise. But that many fans don't realize that the first Halo game has a lot of cut content that players never got to experience. 343 Industries is looking to finally bring in unseen content to the world with the help of the dig site team of the modders. I think it was supposed to be modders. They put an L instead of a D. Modders dedicated to the idea of restoring the original Halo and its full potential. This includes a series of multiplayer maps that also were cut from the PC port of the game. Back in the Gearbox software worked on it, and some of the maps, such as Indoor, were close to the complete and only required some polishing, while other map like Dusk took a lot more work from the dig site to bring to life. Now, the dig site is also restoring the cut RTS content from the earliest plans of the game when Halo Combat Evolved was originally conceived as an RTS, and the RTS content includes a vehicle and enemy types. Maybe most impressive piece of content is a long-lost Macworld demo from 1999, which also added to Halo Master Chief Collection. The Macworld demo will be a sandbox area for players to explore and have fun running around in. Adding cut content like this into the game, old game, is a very rare thing to acts of historical moments in the game can't say that word, preservation. And the fans in the series adding the cut content will make Halo Combat Evolved climb even higher on the favorite list. Now, 343 Industries also stated that the team at DigSite will also be going through the archives of the series. That is also there are plenty of content to show off. What do you think of this, Sarge? Where they're taking an old game, right? Their game right now, Halo Infinite, is literally dying. Not that it matters, because Phil Spencer said it's not going to make or break the franchise, right? But it literally is. They're losing the player base left and right with Halo Infinite, and yet they have modders coming in that they're going to give free range to, so they could add content that was cut from 343. What do you think of this?
Halo.
Sarge is quiet. He's just like, oh god.
Halo as a franchise is dead. Okay, it's dead. Okay, they killed it. Right? All I heard you say when you started talking about this is member berries, member berries, member berries. We're going to bring back old content that no one ever got. Then now that all of a sudden they care about releasing. For some reason, now's the time.
Right.
Now's the time that you're going to care about the stuff that you never saw from 25 years ago. You're going to care about it now. Right? The answer is... Okay, kiss my ass. Okay, you had plenty of time to nourish and grow this franchise with Halo Infinite and bring an entire new group of people to understand why we all loved Halo, right? Instead, you thought that putting in $5 into a machine and slapping a Halo sticker on it was going to make everyone fall in love with Halo again. And the answer is GTFO, okay? I don't care, right? You made me not want to play your game. You decided to lie to us for over 2.5 years about the game. Then you want to come back in and tell us that you're going to bring back stuff from the original game because now's the time.
Right.
Okay, I have one dry ball here. Somebody needs to help me out. Okay, somebody needs to help me out. 343. I don't like having dry ball. Okay, someone needs to help me out. Okay, I'm done listening to these developers and these corporations on beautiful, beautiful IP that could have stood the test of time. Okay, if you just nourished it. Instead,
Right.
you wanted to collect money and throw out a half-ass project. Done. I am done with you. I am done listening to 343. I am done even attempting to play Halo, right? I thought about it the other day, bro. Maybe we should play the Halo Infinite the campaign.
We haven't
Maybe
done it.
we should.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself,
why?
You know what? No.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
Why would I want to? Right? If I wanted to play a Halo game, you know what? Maybe I'll just go back and play Halo 2. We could just play the campaign in Halo 2. That was fun.
Well, it looks like they're going to be adding stuff to it, so who knows?
Listen, man. I don't want to be negative about it, but if you guys believe, the words coming out of that company's mouth, if you believe them, then for the love of God, seek help.
I just don't understand.
Seek help.
I just don't understand why you would put the effort into content that's literally 20 years old, right? 15, 20 years old.
Bro, they didn't put effort into the game to begin with. You think the modding community is the one who's going to save them?
No, this is what I'm saying. Why even take the modders, right? Give the modders jobs
because the consumers trust the modders.
I understand that, but give modders the job to fix the game that you're working on right now. Like the game that you're working on right now. To me, it's asinine to go, yeah, Halo Infinite came out 2 years ago, and we're not going to try to support it or try to make it better in any way, shape, or form with the dying community in it. We're going to go fix a game that's 15 to 20 years old. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Because they know that the leftover people who still love Halo, who carry a torch for Halo, if they realize that the modders are trying to fix it and not the company who inherited it, okay, if they think they're going to fix it instead, they might have a shot.
That's my point. That's my point, though. They own the game, and yet they're not even going back to fix the game with their own guys. They're hiring modders to do it. Then hire people, right? You just spent $68.7 billion to pick up Activision Blizzard. I had a conversation with Dupless the other day in Discord, right? I said for the $68.7 billion, you could have made 350 games at the size of God of War, Last of Us, Horizon, Spider-Man at over $200 million a piece, right? You could have opened 350 studios at a game price of $200 million to come out a game like God of War or Spider-Man, and yet they didn't do any of that. They could have taken the 68 point and they could have fixed their bread and butter of Halo. They could have hired people to fix the game.
You mean the godfather of the entire system?
Oh, right, the whole system, right.
The game that started the damn company, the division of console gaming. We don't want to fix that. It's so aggravated. My brain hurts even to talk about it.
I'm so baffled.
These people have the balls to do this kind of stuff. Like, do you not care about the thing that created you? That's like you waking up one day, taking over your mother's house, and then shooting your mother in the head. Like, I don't need you anymore, Ma. I got the house. Like, what are you talking about? Right? You have the IP. You have it, right? Cherish it and build it up for the next generation of kids. It was Combat Evolved because at the time that it came out, it was pushing the envelope of what systems could do at the time.
Right.
What is it doing now?
Nothing.
It's pushing up daisies. They don't care.
It's Combat Devolved. That's what it is. It's devolved.
They just want a paycheck. They slap a sticker on it. Collect the money. We got them.
That's what I'm saying, Stubby.
We got them.
Like, you could have taken, right? You could have taken a fraction of the money, right? A fraction of the money. Think about this, right? Instead of going out and making, obviously not 350 companies, okay? But you could have taken the money that you were spending on Activision Blizzard. And right now, yes, you're losing the race of gaming, okay? But the next console to come out, or the next 5-10 years, they could have invested, right? Because they would have done this like 3 years ago. They could have invested $200 million in a brand new company to make a game, and the game could have cost $50 million or $100 million, and that money would have made them develop that game over the last 2 to 3 years or 3 to 5 years, and then they would have had like 10 different first-party companies. Okay, it's not like we don't have talent out there that people are looking for jobs, right? There's so many talented people that are making video games that they could have just bought the game or bought the company, started a company fresh, made a brand new IP and story, and they could have like made all of these first-party title games across the board. But no, they're like, nah, let's spend $68.7 billion on Call of Duty, mobile, WoW, Starfield, you know what I mean? Or StarCraft, okay, and World of Warcraft, and we're good. And it's just like, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're doing.
All they want is to print money, bro. They want to print money.
But they would have print money.
Low labor, easy fix, throw it out there, collect money. Oh, put a store in there. Oh, put some skins in there.
They're literally making $250 to $300 million a month off Game Pass.
Which is why they don't care that they just drove the #1 IP that started the company into the ground with no tears. That you didn't care.
Yeah,
you didn't care.
They executed Master Chief. They executed him.
They're making so much money. It's cheaper to shoot him in the head than it is to make a quality game. But we still want to drag the corpse around to let everyone know that, hey, by the way, we still have this guy here. Remember?
Yeah.
We had this guy. We had this guy here. He's a really good game.
Yeah.
Remember that, guys? Really good game. But they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for a modder in Starfield to make Master Chief in Starfield.
Timelines, budgets, crunch, and lack of passion have destroyed the major IPs in this industry because the people who have them didn't start them, so there's no loyalty in brand. It's just a job for you. So you lack passion for the project. All you care about is getting things done. Then on the developer on the corporate side, they're like, well, the game's got to be out by Christmas. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I have a new kid, sir. Doesn't matter. You're not going to see your kid.
Get to work.
You've got to crunch. We got to get this game out by Christmas. And does the game come out by Christmas?
No.
It crawls. Nope. It crawls out of the ooze before the guy gets to see his kid crawl. And then the game is so broke, it takes 18 months to fix, but you still sold it at full price.
Yep.
And the store is open.
Yep.
GTFO. Don't care, bro. I don't care. I want to see more guys who do battle bits, right? That's who I want to see. I want to see guys like who did Tunic. I want to see guys who did like the other indie games that came out that they're trying to get noticed and trying to start something and show the rest of these people that they're out of their minds, right? It comes down to the same story every week, and here we go. The gaming industry is not a game of widgets. They are not making a product like you buy in a store. It's not the same thing, right? You are making art based on an individual idea agreed on by a company and built and pushed forth by the developers of that company, right? It's a conglomeration of art, okay? If you're not behind it and you don't love it and you don't care for it, then you don't give a shit what happens to it. Redfall, you don't give a shit about what happens to it. Anthem, you don't care. Right. You don't give a shit, right?
Fallout 76.
You're selling art, right? You're selling art, right? Every time you make art, is it going to make $30 million on day one? No. And that's the risk you take. Maybe we'll make a hit, maybe we won't. But we're supposed to make the budget enough to where we can still exist. Because if you suck so bad that even your best attempt comes out as a mediocre game and you still can't stay open because of that reason, then that's the reason why there's Chapter 11, okay? I'm sorry, Chapter 7. You go away and you reform and you come into another company with new people, new ideas, and you start over. You don't drag the corpse of your company around for 8 years, bragging about an IP that you don't give a shit about. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
All right. Breathe, Sarge. Breathe. All right. Next story. Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel may already be in the works. Now, obviously, they started working on the last one 3 months after the first one, right? They made their money. They made their money on this one. There's a lot of people still having problems with it, but new information suggests that the sequel of Star Wars Jedi Survivor may already be in development. Star Wars Jedi Survivor received...
Maybe, bro. Maybe. Come on, bro.
Positive reviews
when they got the pre-order numbers, when they got the pre-order numbers,
They were already crewing
like,
up. Yeah, they were already crewing up.
Hey, Bob, unpack your bag. We're doing another one. Like, there's no May, right? You guys know if you're doing another fucking game or not. Let's stop lying. Just stop.
So Jedi Survivor offers some notable improvements over the 2019 Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game. For example, players now have Jedi stances to choose from, and also the world itself is much larger than the original game. Successful video games getting full sequels is a common practice in the gaming industry, and it looks like Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel may already be in the works. As reported on Screen Rant VG 24/7, the Tech for Gamers developer Respawn Entertainment is hiring for positions on Star Wars Jedi series of games. The given example highlights of the role of senior visual effects artists and Star Wars Jedi, stating that the position is eligible for remote work. Fans also may want to wait for EA to officially avail the new entry for series, as a thing could be drastically changed during the development process. As Star Wars Jedi Survivor just came out, and the new title parody probably won't be years away. Oh yeah, sure, it probably won't come out for like another 4 years. So we're talking like 2027 is when it comes out. But 100% EA is making the third trilogy of this. Obviously, if you played the first one, you knew there was a sequel coming out after you played the first one, and after you play the second one, you'll be like, yeah, okay, great. There's gonna be a sequel attached to this one as well. I don't think this is, brain surgery here. Obviously, I think let's count, right? It came out in April, May, June, July. They did post 3 months afterwards. That means they already started pre-production. If they didn't already start pre-production while they were doing the last one, because they know what the story was going to end, right? They know how much money they made on the first one. They know how much money they're going to make on this one. And yeah. So obviously, I don't know if they tell you the sales numbers anymore. Let me see. Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Jedi Survivor sales numbers. I don't think they're going to tell us. Let's see. Deep Silver has already revealed the game has sold 1 million units, which is strong results in the market. This is all unboxed sales. So, but that's also back on May 1st. So we're 3 months away. So it probably sold around 4 to 5 million copies. Let me see if the Fallen Order, what they sold, because I would think it would be around the same. Yeah. So commercial success, selling more than 10 million copies by 2020. And it was nominated for several end-of-the-year accolades, including Best Action, Best Game Awards. So Jedi Fallen Order sold over 10 million copies. I'm assuming that this one also sold around about the same, 8 to 10 million copies. And anything over 2 million, 3 million copies, you're making a sequel, right? You're making a sequel. So we'll go from that to Microsoft wins the FTC case. Microsoft wins the FTC fight to buy Activision Blizzard. The FTC versus Microsoft is over, and the judge has decided to deny the FTC preliminary injunction request. Let's see. Judge Corral has clearly cited that Microsoft commits to Call of Duty, and the PlayStation even extended the game to Nintendo Switch, despite the FTC challenging Microsoft's cloud agreement. The judge took them to consideration in her decision, and the court ruling even agrees that Microsoft, in theory, about Nintendo Switch being part of the console market, but also accepts the FTC can reasonably claim that it's not. Now, the judge also agreed with the FTC, and the console market does not include PCs. Now, in a statement following Coral's decision, Microsoft President Brad Smith said the company was grateful to the Court of San Francisco for a quick and thorough decision and hopes that other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution. Now, Xbox Phil Spencer, a key witness to the trial, also tweeted a reaction saying, quote, "We're grateful for our court in swiftly deciding in our favor and the evidence that shows that Activision Blizzard deal is good for the industry, and the FTC claims about the console switching, multi-game subscription services, and cloud don't reflect the realities of gaming market," said Spencer. So Activision Blizzard has also reacted in the decision, and our merger, quote by Bobby Kotick, says our merger will benefit consumers and workers. Activision Blizzard also CEO said in a statement, quote, "It will also be enabled to competition rather than allow entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate our rapidly growing industry." Don't you find that? I find that quote right there, Sarge, by Bobby, kind of like a backhand slap to like Sony PlayStation, right? Because he's like, this will enable competition rather than allow entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate a rapidly growing industry. Like, as Bobby says that, he does know that he is the entrenched market leader in first-person shooters and stuff, right? Right?
Right.
Like, it's just funny that he says that. So overall, this deal is going to go through. Obviously, we all had our guesses. It wasn't. This is why it shouldn't. This is why it should. I I saw it from the very beginning. I was like, they're not going to have enough information. This is not a monopoly. Obviously, the FTC, if you guys haven't been following, I've been posting stuff in the general in Discord because I thought it was just mind-blowing that the FTC chairwoman, right, who was the lead in the FTC case, she doesn't even have a license to be a lawyer, yet she was in the courtroom trying to lawyer against a big conglomerate corporation, and she's 0 for 9, okay? She's 0 for 9 when it comes to cases. So she's doing a fantastic job, and they just literally cooked her. But that's a completely different story that we're not talking about. But what do you think, Sarge? The deal's going to go through, right? They're not stopping it. There's no way the appeal is going to go through. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm listening.
So I'm just saying the deal is going to go through. They're not going to stop the deal from going through. So what?
This is just another speed bump. They still have the court case to do in August.
Right. Creature says this case did not decide whether or not the deal is going through. It's not decide whether the injunction would be granted to go to the court in August, my man. This deal is going through, Creature. You're super delusional right now if you think this deal is not going through. Like, super delusional.
Believe me when I say this deal's going through. Believe me.
Like,
I've been listening to the stuff like this for quite a while.
They're going to move forward super fast. Right? Super fast. This is going to go through, and then they're going to make the CMA. They'll just remove themselves, the CMA from that.
No, this is just a speed bump. This basically would have delayed things longer, is what this would have done if FTC got their way. That's all this is. So now we proceed with the normal timeline that was supposed to happen, which is the court case in August, and we move on from there.
Creature, but you saying that this didn't decide? This did decide. This is it. This deal's going through. What were you saying?
You have the court case. You have the court case in August. That's the deciding factor.
They can literally move forward before the court case. They don't even need to go to the court case.
No, I know, but that's the official.
Sure.
I mean, the stock price. The stock price basically answered if they think the deal's going to go through or not, just by what it did. So
the stock price, and also that it's also going to be delisted off of the stock exchange on Monday, right? So, if they're delisting a stock, meaning the deal's going through, because you wouldn't remove a company off a stock market if the deal wasn't going through.
That's all part of the process, though. It's just what they have to do. That's just what they have to do. You still have to wait. You still have to wait for the court case in August to go through. Listen, you have to go through all these steps. That's very confusing, and all the things that make you think about it, because
you gotta spend taxpayers' money
we're not part of the insiders'
do the due diligence.
Of how, right. Yeah.
Okay. Cross the T's, dot the I's, bullshit some more, stretch it out.
Bobby has to figure out. Bobby's got to figure out what yacht he's gonna buy.
Right.
He's got to go start
what
shopping
color
for a yacht.
parachute he's gonna have, just in case.
Well, it's gold. His parachute's golden, so it doesn't need to pick up the color.
Right. They can do whatever they want. This deal, based on what the FTC, right? Based on what the FTC put in front of they didn't 100% sell what they were trying to say, right?
Yeah, but if you guys watch the court case, if you watched it, they couldn't prove what they initially said, that what they were going to court for, and then on top of it, they started agreeing with Microsoft on key points that they were doing. It's like, I thought you guys were here to win the case. The case you're providing now is basically giving ammunition to Microsoft that says, yeah, this is a cool thing to do. Don't worry about it. Like, which side were you on? If you fought so hard to go to court for this reason, then why would you have put people on the stand that would defend Microsoft? I never understood what was going on. I'm like, what is happening right now? Why is there even a court case?
Right.
They could not prove what they said was the reason why they were there.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
The whole thing is just
it was a stall. It's a stall.
It's exactly right.
It was a stall tactic. It's a stall.
Yeah. Well, the funny part is I would like to know, because I don't know what's going to come up today, because she was under scrutiny, but one of the people that was interviewing her, the head of the chair, was like, I looked into your information and you're not even a lawyer. You haven't done your license. You haven't done anything. So she basically was a criminal, basically, because you're practicing law without being a lawyer, and you're going and you're putting up against these trillion-dollar companies trying to win against these things. And she failed at every single aspect. And the way she was talking, the chairperson of the FTC, it sounded more personal than it did for protecting us from the customers, right? The way it is. So it's very interesting to see what will come of this. Even if they got the appeal or the preliminary injunction, with this coming out about her and whatnot, it'd be interesting to see what would have went forward with this. I personally think, obviously, it's official, but not official. It's going to go through. And so now what I want to ask you, Sarge, is, well, how's this better for us? How's this better for us gamers now that Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard and all the games and glory that they have?
Well, there's two ways to look at it, right? In the first reason you say, is it going to benefit us or not? In the short term, yes. But the overall scheme of things, how games are going to be for future generations of people, the answer is no, because it becomes the system becomes closer and closer to where they have all the say, they control it all, right? You're not going to have any independent retailers. You're not going to have any middlemen. You're not going to have an actual product. You're not going to be able to have the rights to the product. So basically, if I like something, I want to use the piece of entertainment, I have to buy it from a proprietary software thing, which I have to pay a monthly fee for,
Right.
and I'm under all kinds of restrictions. Like, yeah, I can play it on all kinds of systems. It's convenient. But in the long run, I have no choice of what I want to play because it'll only be in one place for me to play it.
Right.
Right? I have to, like, regardless of what I say, if I like you or don't like you, I've got to give you $29.95 a month. Like, that's basically what it comes down to.
It's a
Like your
subscription model.
cable bill,
Yep.
like your cable bill, right? Or your phone bill. Like, you just have to pay it. Like, that's what happens. You want a phone? $100 a month or
Right.
$50 a month or whatever plan you have. Oh, you want to be entertained? $29.95 a month. Like, it's going to just be a household number that you have in your head. It's not going to be like, oh, I got this game on sale, or I went over here and I got this, or did you see the new system that came out? Nope. It's a digital product on a digital machine. I pay for it monthly. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? That's the end game. That's the end game. But for the fact that anybody can sell anything in a digital store on any platform, yes, that's very convenient for consumers. Yes.
What Creature's saying, right? This is going to look like Office 365. Yeah, this is going to look like even the editing software. Like when you they go to subscription models. So instead of buying the editing software, now you have to rent editing software. You own nothing. You could buy
Right.
you could buy the effects and stuff, right? But if you want to use those effects, you have to keep paying the actual premium model, right? And then certain models are, well, if you want to use this feature, then you have to go to a higher price, right? So this is the future. This is what's going to happen in the future of, I've been talking about this for 5 years, where Microsoft wants everyone to come on to Game Pass to be in the ecosystem. When they first announced the Xbox Series S and X, I said the S is going to sell more than the X because they want people to be on the digital format. They're going to make more of those. They're going to put them out. All of this has happened. Right, so this is exactly where it lies. They want you in their ecosystem. You're not going to own any game anymore. Look at your bookshelves right now, folks. Okay, if you like collecting games and if you like going to GameStop to buying secondhand games, all of that is gone. Okay, once the next rendition of Xbox comes out, because they will not make a disc version of anything. It will be a Google Stick thing that goes into the side of your television, like I've been saying for years. It'll be the S, will be a digital download. It'll be that little keystone, so smooth, right, where you're downloading the stuff directly to your digital device. This is it. This is the future. Now everyone's like, well, I'm gonna love it if it works out. Okay, which history has shown that consolidation doesn't work out ever. Okay, for the consumers. Okay, it's great until it happens and affects you, and then you're like, fuck Spectrum, fuck Verizon, fuck AT&T, whatever cable company, whatever phone company you have. That's what's going to happen with the gaming industry as well. It happens with the movie industry as well. The conglomerate companies keep buying IPs up, looking at you, Disney, and then they just shit on them because they can't support and keep content coming constantly and constantly and constantly going over, right? Then even games that if you don't even care about digital stuff, right? Where you're just like, I don't care about owning games. All the stuff that you play and all the stuff that you're going to be on live service games and all the stuff that's going to be, you pay for the battle pass and the season pass and the skins and the guns and whatever. All that is gone as well. That's all going to disappear. We talked about that last week, and months and years from now, since when we brought it up the first time. You own nothing. This is the digital dream that Microsoft wants for all of us, and now they're one step closer. So my next question for you, Sarge, is do you think they stopped buying because now they've paid $68.7 billion for one company, or do you think they just set their eyes on the next potential buyers? Because Unicron's got
Yeah, I think you have to wait. I think the whole stall tactic for the court case thing, I think, is for Sony to look around and shop around for someone that they were going to buy. I think that's part of it, because they know they're going to have to adapt.
Right.
Sony's going to have to start doing the same thing. So I think that this extra 3 months or 4 months gave them time to look around and see who is most beneficial for them to acquire that would help them remain relevant in the digital market in the years to come.
Right.
That's basically what that is. I mean, all businesses ever are is what you're saying is Unicron. Like the whole point of a business is to right. You got to keep growing, right? If you for some strange reason, right, in the corporate world, if your company's not constantly growing, they say that your company's dead. Right. Meanwhile, in the normal world, like if I had like a supermarket, like a mom and pop supermarket, I'm locally in my local area. I have the people that come to my area. They come to my shop because I have my stuff. I've been working there for 30 years. My son's taking over the business. It's been there an additional 30 years. Like, it's a household name, but the business never grew anywhere, but it was successful. Right? It's been there 60 years. It supplied everybody that lived in the area with food. They had great prices. Everybody knew everybody. It's a great business, right? They don't look at that business and say, this business is fucking dead.
Right.
It's garbage, right? In the corporate world, if you're not chewing on other companies and constantly growing and constantly bringing it, you're dead. The companies that they don't want to look at you. Like, it makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. But this is what we have to look forward to, right? Just like the banking world, we'll go to the banking world. It's easier to look at, right? When I was younger, there were like 27 banks. When I graduated, there were like 15 banks.
And now there's like 2.
And about 10 years ago, there's 6.
Yeah.
There's like 6 banks.
Yeah.
Like, sure, they keep inventing these new ones. Like, you get the letter in the mail, and you're like, what the hell is this? Like, they invent some new bank name, and you think it's a new bank. Like, by the way, did you know that you can't start your own bank? Did you know there's laws in place right now that you can't start a bank? You're not allowed to. So the banks that you see that are starting,
that's why they have credit
just
unions.
the same banks. Are just the same banks with a different name. So they start the process over again, and so those 17 guys who are running banks make more money when they get bought out and get another bank. Because I looked into it, what it would take to start your own bank. You can't. You're not allowed.
No.
You're not allowed to start a bank. It's just like you're not allowed to have your own lottery. It's the same deal.
This is why there's
the same deal.
This is why there's more credit unions opening up and whatnot, right?
That's correct.
That's
correct.
There's a this is a funny story, right? So we used to live where I used to live over in another place in Florida. There was a pizza joint, right? And this pizza joint was on the corner, and we went there and we're like, it's okay pizza. But then once you went there, and then a couple months later, like, the pizza would suck, right? Like, they changed the recipe, or they changed the cheese, they cheapened out and stuff, right? And then they made their money, and then they would close down, right? And then a couple weeks later, a new pizza place would open up in the same place that the other pizza place opened up. And then you would go there and the pizza would be good again, and then all of a sudden it would slowly become trash again, right? And then they close it. I swear to God, same location to this day, right? And I've been up here for like 22, 25 years, okay? It's been 8 pizza places, okay? Same location. Every time I drive there, I'm like, why would you keep opening up a fucking pizza place if the pizza place before you fucking got destroyed, right? It's the same people. It's the same people that just keep opening up different names under the different pizza joint, and they just keep opening up pizza joints, right? Just to make that influx of people to get the pizza.
Money.
Yeah, the influx of money.
Influx of money.
Yes.
Chop it down. File Chapter 11.
Yes.
Close out. I'm broke.
And then do it again.
Repeat process.
Yes, it's exactly what they do.
Yes.
Right? No, Mantis, it's not a pop-up. It's a mom and pop. It's a mom and pop shop. Okay, like, we've been here for 20 years and blah 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 bullshit thing. and they just make the money and they move on and they do the same thing.
I don't see how it's practical. There must be some kind of loophole he must have if it's the
And
same people doing it over and over again.
Yeah, whatever the rules. If you can't open it up, you give it to your son or your daughter or your niece or your cousin or your grandmother. You know what I mean? Like you just keep changing the name and putting the business under the other person's name. It's just crazy.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's the world we live in. The next story, real fast. Nintendo 64 Switch controllers coming back in stock and sells out almost immediately. Fans enjoy a short-lived joy of having Nintendo 64 Switch controllers back in stock. But
you got a picture of it? Let me see.
Yeah, it looks exactly like the N64 controller, which, in my opinion,
is
the worst controller ever created.
The worst controller ever is now made for the Switch.
Yes. Yeah. Worst controller ever. Nintendo Switch controller became once again available for a short time before sold out again. The popular throwback controller was created so fans can enjoy their favorite Nintendo 64 games in style when playing them through the Nintendo Switch online subscription. The original N64 was released in Nintendo in 1996 in Japan and North America in 1997 in Europe, and notably, it was the last major home console that used cartridges as a primary storage format until Nintendo Switch was released in 2017. The Nintendo 64 gave the world numerous legendary games such as Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and GoldenEye. Oh, GoldenEye was a great game. So I just think it's funny. Like, when I tell you that crazy Uncle Nintendo can do whatever they want, this is what I'm talking about, right? They literally made the worst controller again ever created in history, in my opinion, in video game history, and they sell out like hotcakes because they just do whatever they want. No one. Nintendo's like, how are we going to make money this time? Well, what about if we make the exact same
25-year-old controller?
Right. Let's make a 25-year-old controller, put it back out there, and it sells. It sells. And then they remade more, and it sells again and again and again. So, crazy Uncle Nintendo.
How much is it retailing for?
I'm assuming it's just like the normal price of a $49.99. Yeah, $50. $50.
Incredible. Just by the picture alone, it looks cheaper. I can tell by looking at it.
Yeah,
I know what the old
it's
one
not even
like.
It's not even factory made. It's probably 3D printed. It's 3D printed plastic now. That's what it is.
Look at that. Look at that plastic. You can tell. Look at the yellow buttons. Look at them. Look at them. You can tell.
Here, let me get it closer here.
You can tell, dude. Look at that. Look at it. You guys can just tell by look at it.
It's the worst controller, 76. It's the worst. Just like where you had to put your hand, like you didn't know if you wanted your thumb on the thumbstick or on the D-pad. You're like, what am I doing with my hands? Like you didn't know what you were doing. And then when you had it, the controller would like clip your knuckles. You know what I mean? Because you're holding the analog stick. It was just such a weird. And then it has a trigger. It had that trigger underneath as well.
Right. Do you hold it like a PS controller, a PlayStation controller, or do you hold it with your left hand on the stick or the right hand? Like
it's the left hand on the yes, it's the left hand on the stick, and then it's just
like
it's just
how do you want me to hold this thing? And what game am I playing that allows me to use which buttons now? What?
So yeah, if you're a fan, well, you can't get it. It's sold out again. So you're gonna have to wait for the third installment of it. The last story I want to talk about, because we're short, so we're going to miss a couple stories. But the last story I want to talk about is close to me because I was in the film industry for a long time, and I experienced a strike when I was with IATSE, which was the camera union. I was a camera local 600, and now the SAG and AFTRA is going on strike. Okay, they're going on strike because of the writers are on strike right now, and they're fighting against AI. And pay as well, right? And now the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation, the reason that they're going on strike because there's 160,000 film and television actors in the Writers Guild, and they're demanding increased base pay and residuals in the streaming TV era, plus insurance that their work will not be replaced by artificial intelligence. Now, one of the things that's happening with the artificial intelligence, okay, with the Screen Guild. So basically, I don't know if this happened or if it's could happen, okay? But basically, they could bring you in for a day shoot, right? Give you your day rate. So the day rate could vary, right? It could be like $250, $350, could be $3,000, all depending on what you're doing for the base pay. This is what the actors are. We're not talking about the multimillionaires that are successful actors, but they're all part of the acting guild, so they all have to go on strike. And I'll tell you what this means in a second. But what happens is that companies, studios, are trying to take advantage of the system of the AI. So they're trying to bring people into the studio, giving them their day rate of a low fee, using artificial intelligence because they put the mocap suit on, they capture all of them, and then they can literally use that likeness for eternity. Okay? For eternity. Okay? It's insane. Okay? Insane that they think they can get away with this shit. Okay? Insane. So let me bring up the So what it means for SAG and AFTRA, like, so the Screen Guild right now, they can't do any kind of promotion. So if you guys noticed earlier this week, there was a ton of trailers and stuff that came out, right? So you saw the Godzilla, the Willy Wonka. There's things going on where they're promoting kind of loosely for Deadpool by showing screenshots of Ryan Reynolds and Jesus Christ, Hugh Jackman, right, being Wolverine and Deadpool. Now, during the seeing of Oppenheimer, right, the new movie, actors on the red carpet, once they heard that it was a strike was going on, they literally left. They left the premiere. They just left. They can't be there because so during the SAG and AFTRA strike, actors will not be allowed to film any movies or TV productions, take part in any press junkets or film premieres, promote anything of at SDCC, and will be advertised not to attend at all. So they can't do anything. They can't show up. They can't go to a TV show. They can't talk to not that they can right now because there are no talk shows, because all talk shows are being either pre-recorded and they already had stuff in the can, or they don't have any writers anymore and they're just like freeballing it, right? So they can't have any of that stuff. They have to hire their nephew or cousin to start writing stuff for them, because no one that's part of any kind of union can actually work in the film industry right now. So what's the crazy part is that they're trying to use this AI not only to do the writing, not only also in Congress earlier, they're also trying to take artists that do the posters and do the covers for the movies and all that stuff. And the music, they're all trying to defend against AI right now, because the companies that can get rid of the people so they can save bucks, so they can do it. So basically the big thing that what's happening with the Secret Invasion right now on Disney Plus, the opening title sequence was created by AI. Okay. And people are pissed off in the industry. People like us don't give a shit. They're just like, it's an opening of a title, right? Of a show. But the people that literally create these things or create the posters or create the stuff, they're all being like pushed to the side because some intern that you pay $25 can type in some keywords inside of an art program, and the art program is taking all the information from these artists and using them without their consent. Okay, because it's being trained, and there's multiple programs out there that are doing all this stuff, and now they're being taken advantage of and pushed out. Now with the actors, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to get people the de-aging process, right? Like we've heard stories that Mark Hamill signed his life away basically when they were younger, when they were doing Star Wars, for the likeness for toys and stuff, right? And since that part, everyone now signs different things for toys and whatnot. But he also gave his likeness away when they de-aged him and said, yeah, you can use my likeness for it. So technically, Disney or whoever owns Lucasfilm in the future can literally use Mark Hamill for the rest of his life in a Star Wars film, okay, without any kind of consent or anything, because he signed his life away. I think Harrison Ford might have done the same thing, and also Carrie Fisher did, right? So this is insane. I don't know. What do you think about all this stuff, Sarge?
I think that
I know that's a lot that I just went over.
I think that technology in general is moving way faster than the public can understand, laws can be built around, and both can understand what is actually happening. And normally when something like this happens, the ones that have the money and the power make all the money really quick, while they try to jockey for position to open up companies that are going to have AI companies that are going to be sold to other businesses to help them, I'm doing air quotes, improve their business.
Right.
Right. The problem is that this type of technology, and I don't want to use the Terminator reference, right? I'll use whatever other reference you want me to use, but this type of technology in the wrong hands, okay, or someone who doesn't understand, it's like giving a baby a bazooka, okay, that you don't understand the power of what this can do,
Right.
okay, is going to cause great economic problems first before we iron out the wrinkles and then we all go into a different direction. Because like a long time ago when there were like horse and buggies and some maniac invented the gas-powered car or the steam-powered car, and they were like, why would you need that? We've got horses and buggies, right? Yes, we moved over to the automobile, but that took like 30 years, right? 25, 30 years for the official automobile to get and the horses to be
taking
extinct.
Like 30 days. Yeah.
Right? Once AI companies start to go and people start buying these AI products, right? Your entire world is going to be thrown on its ass, right? You're going to be marketed to. All the things that you hear or listen to are going to be scripted. Like, it's going to be chaos, right? And all the jobs that you think that were secure when you were growing up are not going to be secure. You're going to be replaced, because if a company can replace you in order to save money, the answer is you're getting replaced.
Right, you're getting replaced.
Right? That's how this works. So I think that this avenue with the writers and the movie stars, this is the beginning point in a long series of conflicts that we're going to have on what's allowed to happen with AI products. Like, I get everybody wants to jump in the pool. It's cool. It's future. We're going to get Ready Player One. Sure. Yeah, we're going to get Ready Player One after we're all dead. There'll be Ready Player One, because you got to slow things down until laws and people can understand what is happening, right? What is happening, right? You're going to see people who are dead live on screen with their actual voices.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be chaos.
I mean, we did.
Right?
We saw Carrie Fisher. We saw Carrie Fisher.
If you don't put in parameters for what stars and companies are allowed to do and what the rules are, it's going to be chaotic for a long time, right? We might get some really cool movies initially, but after that, the cracks in the facade are going to show.
Well,
right? It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
I found this article. Someone on Twitter posted it, and this is from 10 years ago, June 12th of 2013. Paul Bond from Hollywood Reporter interviewed Steven Spielberg, and Steven Spielberg predicted implosion of film industry. Okay, and George Lucas also echoed Spielberg's sentiments. Right, he said on Wednesday. This is back in 2013 now. Spielberg on Wednesday predicted that the implosion of the film industry is inevitable, where about a half a dozen or so $250 million movies will flop at the box office and alter the industry forever. What comes next, or even before then, will be a price variance of movie theaters where you're going to have to pay $25 for the next Iron Man, or you're probably only going to have to pay $7 to see Lincoln. Okay, he also said that Lincoln came in this close to being an HBO movie instead of theatrical release, and that was back in 2013. George Lucas agreed that the massive changes afoot, including the film morphing somewhat into a Broadway play model, where about a few movies are released and they stay in theaters for a year and a ticket prices as much as higher. This prediction prompted Spielberg to recall that in 1982, E.T. stayed in the theaters for a year and 4 months. Now, the two legendary filmmakers along the CNBC anchor, Julia Boonstein, Microsoft president, interactive entertainment business Don Matrick, were speaking at the University of Southern California as part of a festivities surrounding the official opening of the media building. Now, Lucas and Spielberg told the USC students that they are learning about the industry and the extraordinary time of upheaval. They're also even proven talents find it difficult to get movies into theaters now. Some ideas from the young filmmakers are too fringy for the movies, and Spielberg said that the big danger eventually is going to do the implosion for the big meltdown. There's going to be an implosion of where 3 or 4 or even half a dozen mega budget movies are going to crash into the ground, and they're going to change the paradigm. Lucas laminated the high cost of marketing movies and the urge of making them more massive while ignoring the niche audiences. He called cable television much more advantageous than film nowadays. He says, I think eventually Lincoln will go away and they're going to be on television. And Lucas said that mine almost was, Spielberg interjected. And This Close asked HBO This Close. And he says, we're also talking about Lincoln and Red Tails, which barely got into theaters as well. So they saw the writing on the wall. And here we are 10 years later. And I think we're at 5, if not 6 major blockbusters have lost money in the industry. So Spielberg and Lucas did a little bit of 30 and Still Gaming while predicting the future.
But don't forget, back in 1982, there wasn't so many people trying to make movies.
Sure.
Right? That's why a movie stayed in the theater for a year. Okay, that's why it was there for a year. They didn't have competition. They didn't have a movie coming out every 3 weeks. Another movie was coming out, right? So now the movie has to come out, make a crap ton of money, and then go away, right? So and now we have streaming services,
yeah,
right, which puts another kink in the hose. Right? You can't keep up, man. You can't keep up. You can't make the same money you thought you were going to make before.
So the reason I bring this up, okay, which I didn't even know the article existed until today, and he said it 10 years ago. I say the same thing about video games, and we read an article a couple months ago about an artist saying that the AAA games are running into a wall and they can't expand anymore, right? And this is what's happening with the movie industry, right? So history repeats itself over and over. It's still an art form, right? But video games are getting so expensive. Movies are getting so expensive. Ticket prices are going up. Video game prices are going up. They can't keep up with it. They can't put the marketing and stuff because they're not going to make as much money as they did to pull in. Like, obviously.
So how would you fix it? How do you save money, bro? How do you save money?
Can't do the games like you're doing. You can't do the $250 million
but you can.
Games.
But you can
because
marketing, you don't have to hire coders. You don't have to hire coders anymore because the AI programs can do the coding for you.
So the only way you could do it is by using the AI programs to make the games for you, to make the movies for you. Because even camera, right, with Epic, and I've talked about Epic in the past about how they bought these motion capture things, and then they're doing the Unreal Engine for the sets and all this other stuff. And I talked about how they're doing the room, right? Now they're all in position where even the camera department, okay, even a person that points the camera, changes the lenses, and does all that stuff, that's all digital now. Like, not even digital like digital cameras. I'm talking like digital in the computer and record inside the computer to make a movie now, right? You don't even need the focal length of a person with the education of doing stuff and doing it in camera anymore. You can just do it all in game, all in engine, all in Unreal Engine 5, right? So it's funny to me that the movie industry, and the reason the movie industry is flopping right now is because, one, of their political views, but two, of everything looks fake. All the CGI looks like shit, right? All of it, because they're trying to push them out so fast they can't make it.
No, it's not because they're trying to push it out so fast. It's because the medium hasn't been around long enough to where people are vetted in the actual medium.
That's what I'm saying. There's not enough people.
They're still learning.
Yeah, well,
they're still learning how it works.
They're not giving enough time for the people. They just think because it's on the computer, it can be done in like 3 seconds, but it takes literally weeks and months, all right, for tens and hundreds of people to work on. They're going frame by frame, right? Frame by frame to digitally make stuff, right? So it's impossible for them to keep up with the CGI, and this is why the quality is going down, right? And people are just like, oh, it's an entertaining movie, whatever, right? It doesn't look real anymore. Like back in the day when they made Terminator, they literally made a whole a suit for Arnold, like a rubber suit, and made the special effects, and it looked real, right? When they blew his head off and stuff like that. That's crazy stuff and skillful stuff. Yes, it's skilled for the CGI stuff, but you can literally replace everybody, and then the quality starts to drop, and then their profits go up because they're still charging the same exact money.
Do you remember how movies used to be made with actual physical props and physical special effects, and how amazing that stuff was?
Yeah.
How much time it took to actually invent this? Now they're trying to build stuff in super CG, and all the superhero movies are super CG, and it's like, yeah, it kind of looks cool for the most part, but if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do it well, it looks like garbage.
Yeah. Well, D Mackie, you're talking about they made their bed and the masses. You're talking about the political views and doing all the woke stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the industry itself as far as what they're going to do to the people that work in the film industry. It's different for the people that are producing the stuff and the people that work the cameras, the lights, right? Those people aren't woke. Those people are blue collar workers that are working the job and in skilled positions that are now being just gone because the companies want to make AI and they want to make better or faster movies and still charge the same prices, right? You're not wrong that they made their bed, but look real close because the video game space is doing the exact same thing, right? They are intertwined now. The way they make a video game with the low caption suits is the exact same way that movies made the special effects and then the quality dropped in the movies and the budgets went up and they're not doing very good, right? You can't have a $300 million game and it only sells 1 million copies. You see what I'm saying? Not going to happen. It's going to go down in the dumps. 76 says...
I agree, Quintar. I agree.
76 says, waiting for them to say we have to raise the price because AI is expensive to make. Exactly, 76. Lurker says the documentary movie about James Bond stunts are better movies than we can get in CGI. Oh, I miss those things with Jackie Chan and stuff like that when they did all their own stunts. Quintar says, at the speed of AI learns, bet we will see a major distribution next year this time, maybe.
Disruption next year.
Sorry. D. Mackey says, I think movies that are visibly physical are going to come back because it doesn't look generated and they also feel more... they might come back. Like what Tom Cruise is doing, obviously, he's doing his own stunts and there's also CGI, right? Like he hung from a plane, but then they changed the background behind him and stuff like that, right? They still merge it correctly. If they do it, if they take the time and they actually do it correctly, then yeah, it'll look good, right? I mean, obviously the special effects that George Lucas created with LucasArts to make the plastic ships that they made to make them look like real ships in space. I mean, that'll look real, right? Mixed with CGI with actual practical effects. That's what they need to do. Nothing would change. People are still getting paid. And until they're not, though, Krebsy. The people, you mean producers, but now instead of having a 100-man crew making a film, you have a producer, an intern, getting paid $25 an hour so he could do CGI stuff in his basement. All right, so I don't know. I'm a little worried because movies right now have been pretty shitty, right? And now because the movies are shitty, and now that the writers are on strike, and now that the actors are on strike, if the writers have been on strike for like three months now, and the actors will probably go on strike until August or I'm sorry, like October, right? Before the deal gets done. So we're talking another 3 months. Any movie that comes out after 2023, so 2024 movies are all going to suck. All of them are all going to suck. Unless they have movies that they filmed and they're on the shelf before this, they're all going to suck. We're going to have the exact same problem we had with James Bond Quantum Solstice, which was just an absolute cluster of a movie, and any other movie that came out in 2007, 2008. There's going to be massive movies. The industry is going to do shitty for the next 2 years, 2-3 years after coming off a shitty 2-3 years because of the pandemic that we had, right?
Yep.
So Mackie says the blue collar folks have skills that will be translatable to other areas. I know someone who was a gaffer. She jumped to game industry because after 14 years in Hollywood, she was still at minimum wage. Yeah, sure. But what would I do, right? As a focus puller, camera AC, right? First AC. What would I do? Am I gonna get a job at Epic and be a focus puller in a digital thing? Like you see what I'm saying? Like sure, I have to adapt, but it's ridiculous when you just gut out everybody. Like if you don't need lighter like gaffers and key grips and stuff like that, and you just film in a room, and now you have one guy instead of 5 guys, and instead of having a 3-man team of a camera, you have just the DP and a guy that's getting paid minimum wage to look at the DIT stuff, right? The digital transfer and stuff to do the stuff. Lots of people are losing jobs. Or they're
going to. So a side note, I want you to know that the Xbox or Discord are in cahoots with one another, and they actually listen to each other because I don't watch wrestling. I haven't watched wrestling in years.
Okay.
And after we played the wrestling game, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks? It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right, two weeks ago, in my YouTube feed, I got the Royal Rumble from 1992, the most classic super match. You remember that? Do you remember that Royal Rumble, Mike?
Yep.
If you look at the 92 one, that one, and then another one from I think it was 85 or 87, I think it was. It made no sense why that was in my feed.
Yeah, because
why would that be in my feed? That's exactly correct. Because we talked about Royal Rumble.
That's it.
That's correct.
Yep.
That's correct.
That's it. All right. It's 10:15. If you guys want to ask a question, hold on one second. I can put a. We'll take a couple questions. Let me add it real fast. For Q&A.
Stop making me hungry, Krebsy.
All right. There's the question. We'll keep that up for a couple minutes. If you guys have a question you want to ask the question. It could be about the topics that we talked about. It could just be a general question. We'll open up the questions for you guys.
What story didn't we get to?
Stories that we didn't get to. We didn't talk about the Team Fortress 2's big summer update. We didn't talk about.
That needs to be something you talk about. Oh, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah,
you're gone tomorrow.
Microsoft. No, I'm not gone tomorrow. I mean, I have a stream on Monday. Microsoft pulling Call of Duty from Steam was a failure. Microsoft saying that Blizzard made a mistake by pulling that off there. And then also we missed one other story.
The Team Fortress thing makes no sense to me at all.
The Xbox voice reporting system, calling about people that curse you out. There's a reporting system now.
I'm telling you, because you tell me some your mom jokes.
Yeah, those are the
report you.
Yeah, those are the three things that we.
Team Fortress makes no sense to me, bro.
What's
releasing new maps to a game that's 14 years old?
16 years later.
You're releasing maps to a 16-year-old game. Get GTFO, man. Just I can't listen to you anymore.
D Mackey asks the first question. He says, either of you enjoying the Steam Deck? I have not. I have not purchased a Steam Deck. I don't have the money to purchase a Steam Deck, so
I do not own a Steam Deck.
Even if I had a Steam Deck, I don't even know when I would play it.
Isn't a Steam Deck basically just a mobile computer? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's
gaming system.
It's play your Steam games. Yeah. You could upload like Windows and stuff on there as well.
Yeah. So if you can't be away from your PC for too long, you get a Steam Deck. Is that basically what it is?
Yeah. If I had a Steam Deck, I mean, when would I use it? Maybe when I'm on the toilet.
When you're not here. Yeah. When you're not in your house.
When I'm on the toilet or traveling on the stuff. It's console mode and a Linux mode. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. The FTC's appeal has been denied by the judge. Yep. We already talked about that. Next question. Krebsy Gaming says, how much do you think it would take to buy Rockstar, and if possible all of Take-Two? I think
Rockstar is too strong.
I think
their sales, the value of that company has priced them out of Sony.
No, of Sony, of not Microsoft though.
No, not Microsoft, but of Sony, yes.
Yeah. No, I think there was a couple weeks ago, Krebsy, someone put it out there.
I don't think Take-Two wants to sell. Take-Two is not going to sell. Listen, you only sell your business, right? You only sell your business if you're ready to get out of the business completely and collect your money and walk away, or you're in desperation because your company's losing money and you need to be saved. Those are the only two reasons why you sell a business. There is no in between, like, hey, it's Tuesday, we're not doing anything, and someone gave me a good number, I'm out of here. Like, you either want to be the hell out or you're trying to save yourself. Right? I don't think Take-Two is in either of those positions.
Yeah,
I think Take-Two is exactly where they want to be.
Hold on, there was an article a couple weeks ago, if I don't remember, if I can remember, that I want to say it was like $1 billion or something like that. It would cost to buy them or something like that. Hold on.
Just Rockstar or Take-Two? Because if it's Take-Two, the number's huge. Rockstar itself is tremendous.
Yeah, no, it was the whole thing. It was with Rockstar. I forget where it was. It was on Twitter, obviously, and someone posted all the companies, and they posted all the companies with what their worth was.
At that time.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago.
At that
Yeah, it was
time.
just a couple weeks ago. Let's see. Buy. If Microsoft
That's only the controlling share though, Krebsy. If they have a controlling share, if you still have shares outstanding for your company, then you don't have to sell. Shareholder thing.
Why Microsoft won't buy Take-Two after the Microsoft Activision. Let me see if this article says it. Yeah, no, it doesn't say. I'll have to try to find it. I remember it was a couple billion. It was a couple of $1 billion to buy it. And I don't know if it would be. I don't think Rockstar obviously would want to be bought right now, obviously, because they don't need anybody. Like Take-Two, and they would be dumb to sell before Rockstar. Before Rockstar comes out with GTA 6 is what I'm saying, right? Once GTA 6 comes out and sells, if they want to buy it, because it would be all just better for them. One, because it's going to sell a crap ton. Okay, so that would just raise the value of the company as well. Two, they want to make all the money up front. They don't want to go through and sell off the company and then give it to Microsoft or whatnot. They would want to keep it and then get all that Grand Theft Auto 6 money coming to them, and then after the fact, they would potentially sell.
Where there's nowhere to go from here, then just sell the company. We're
Yeah.
not going to beat GTA 6, so we're going to just sell the company. I listen. I'm still in the camp.
I mean, if they make GTA 7, it was going to be 15 years from now. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna die on this hill. I know I'm gonna die on this hill, but I'm letting you know right now. I do not think, honestly, I do not think that GTA 6 is going to outperform GTA 5. I just don't.
But
I think that GTA 5 is the pinnacle.
I asked this last week. Are you talking about first week, first month, total sales? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about just an overall picture. This game will not beat GTA 5.
So you're saying it won't beat 180 million total sales? Is what you're saying?
I don't think the game is going to be as good. I don't think it's going to sell as well. I think there's going to be issues. I think that they got lucky. They barely squeaked by when they did 5, and it was a tremendous victory for them. But it is also the pinnacle. Not everybody can beat themselves every time. I think they've topped out.
They will. I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever I said. They will beat their record for pre-sales. They will beat their record for day one sales. They'll beat their record for week 1 and month 1. They will beat all those records. Now, I don't think they'll get 180 million sales like they did for Grand Theft Auto 5, but who knows? I mean, it potentially could.
I'm prepared. I've decided I'm prepared to die on this hill. I'm prepared to die on this hill. Because of the fact of the track record and how lucky they've been over the years to get where they were, and even though the products were withstanding, they were good products. I think they bit off where they could chew with 5. They barely got it to work. They finally got it to work, and it wasn't the online version. It was the actual game itself that they had just barely got it to work, and it was killing them. Right? I watched some stories about it, about what it was doing to the staff, and a lot of the people after that game aren't there anymore, and so they made as much money as they could for as long as they could with GTA Online, and now they can coast and do whatever they want. So if the game comes out, if GTA 6 comes out and doesn't do well, right? They've already made twice or 3 times that amount of money in what they spent and what they made in GTA Online. They won't care.
Oh yeah.
This is why I'm telling you that game will not it's not going to outshine.
Well,
that's
why I just don't. There's when you say not outshine, like I don't know if you mean game like story wise, like score wise.
Picture, bro. I don't need to hear all the details. It's fucking the whole thing, dude. The game is not going to beat their 5. Period. Not going to be as good, not going to sell as well, going to have a lot of problems, going to have some controversy bullshit, period. It's not going to beat GTA 5.
Okay.
It is not going to beat.
I think it'll beat the pre-sales and week 1 and like I said,
pre-sales is because people don't know what the game is yet, and all they heard is GTA 6, and they just throw money. I get that.
That's exactly right.
Right? Well, that's great. Pre-order
means
nothing to me until I see gameplay.
That's why
until I see what the game's about.
But what I'm saying is, you said it won't beat
Don't
GTA
care.
5. If it sells more than
not going
7
to.
million copies before past 7 million copies, then it beats GTA 5 on sales for pre-sales.
In your little world that you just decided to make.
No,
I'm
not in my little
overall.
world. Well, that's what I'm asking. That's why I'm asking about what are you talking about?
I just fucking said it 3 times, bro. I don't give a shit about pre-order.
But
I said the game as a whole.
Yeah, but if they
The
sell,
game as a whole.
if they sell,
I don't care about
if
money.
if they sell 10 million copies on day one, and then they sell 12 million copies after, it means it's sold more than Grand Theft Auto 5.
Great, and you can't return it because it's digital now. It's a whole different ball game, bro. It's not what I'm talking about.
Okay. So whatever you flag that you pointed at in your goalpost that you have, then you'll be correct.
The goalpost is overall, Mike. The game is not going to do as well as GTA 5. Period.
Chad, do you understand what I'm asking?
Pre-order. You can say whatever you want for pre-money, bro. Pre-money. People are going to throw money at the screen.
No, it's not about pre-money. It's about total sales. I'm asking, you're saying it won't outdo Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm asking you on a game level, or are you talking about financial level? And you're saying everything. And I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Overall, the whole thing, everything together, it's not going to outperform the 5th one.
Like talking to a wall. All right, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this in 2 years.
Fucking pre-order. The money that people are going to throw at the screen counts for everything. It doesn't.
No, I didn't say it doesn't count for everything. But it beats if the number one game ever sold 7 million copies. The only one to beat it was Cyberpunk, which sold 8 million copies. And Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and it sells 9 million copies. It won. It already overdid the pre-order sales. Then day one, when it comes out, they sell another 7 million copies. Then it already beat Grand Theft Auto 5 on the day one sales. And then week one passes. And then they beat them again. It's on pace to break the record. That's what I'm saying, right? You're saying that the game overall, the story, the gameplay is not going to outdo Grand Theft Auto 5. And I don't give a shit about that because money talks, bullshit walks. It doesn't matter if the game is good or bad. It's going to outsell the last Grand Theft Auto game because of the hype alone, is what I'm saying. I agree with you that it won't beat the 188 million units sold in the lifetime. But even then, that'll be 12 years down the line. And then you have to do the math because they have to sell 20 million copies every year for a decade just to beat what Grand Theft Auto 5 has done. So we'll come back to that.
Even if the game sold just as many copies, the price of games is now higher, bro.
But I'm
you're
not
going to win money-wise anyway.
But I'm not talking about price money-wise. I'm talking about copies sold. It doesn't matter if it costs $80 or $10. It's going to sell more copies. Week one, pre-sales, day one, month one, it's going to sell more copies than Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's easy because it's all digital. There's no stores anymore. It's all digital. So yeah, I'm sure it'll probably sell number-wise because everyone has just to push a button. No one's going out to buy anything or watching reviews or anything. It's just I push the button.
Sarge means the impact of GTA 5 it had on the industry beyond sales. It's such a market approval. How much is talked about, number of people in the game, etc. This is what I was trying to figure out, Krebsy. If he's talking about game, is it going to be a better game than Grand Theft Auto 5? He might have a point, but I'm talking about copies sold. That Grand Theft Auto 6 will sell more copies in the first overall 3 months than Grand Theft Auto 5 did in the first 3 months. Now, obviously, I'll have to wait 10 years to find out if it sells 188 million copies because that's how long it took Grand Theft Auto 5 to sell that many. Because they were averaging 20 million copies a year.
And why did it take that long?
Because they had to wait for other systems to come out. I mean, I don't know.
No, because they didn't have to.
You're saying because online,
yeah. Make another game.
Yeah.
They didn't have to make another game because they had a game constantly running 24/7. They didn't have to make another game. That's the difference.
Next question: do you believe that Starfield will actually release in good state with all the drama surrounding Microsoft? Yeah. I mean, I think that Bethesda, personally, I think obviously Fallout 76 for what we knew about Fallout 76 is that they were throwing it together, and Todd Howard. These were rumors, but we talked about news stories back in the day when they were doing this Fallout 76 thing that they were They couldn't hire. They were on a hiring freeze and they couldn't get anybody. So they threw together Fallout 76 to hire a bunch of people, and then Todd Howard moved a bunch of people off of that game and moved them on to Starfield because they wouldn't give him more people to work on Starfield, right? So Fallout 76 was like a game just put together, and it was super quick because it was built less than 12 months, and then built over time.
And it showed.
Right.
And it showed.
Right. And they used those people to bring over to Starfield. Now, Starfield is Todd Howard's like bread and butter. That's his flagship. So do I think it's going to come out and be good? I do. I do think it's going to be good. Now, do I think it's going to get scrutinized? 100%, because people are already shitting on it because it's not 60 frames per second. They're shitting on it because of.
Are they still talking about that?
A lot of things about what the game is, but I think as a whole, as an RPG, the story that Bethesda does, they do good stories in Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. They've done a very good job with that. I think they captured that again, but now they do it in space. What do you think, Sarge?
I think there's too much anticipation around the game, and I think they put the best layer frosting they could on that game in order to sell it. And once again, this is going to be a unprecedented title because it will be the first of its kind to be a AAA title, exclusive and digital only. Like, you can go out and buy a hard copy, but you don't really have to.
Right.
Like, don't have to.
I don't think they're actually selling hard copies, if I'm not mistaken.
You don't have to, right? I would buy a hard copy if it exists anywhere. I'm going to find one, right? Just to have it.
I don't think they are.
Right.
I don't think they're selling hard copies.
But that's my point, right? It's going to be unprecedented. They will be able to control this game. They will have 100% control over the narrative because nobody else will have numbers except them. So whether or not it does well or not will be irrelevant because they can say whatever they want because they're in control of the entire narrative.
Okay.
Right? The game's great. It's got this. Look how many people are playing it. Everything you hear is going to be whatever they say. You're not going to be able to get numbers from retail stores or anyone showing you the popularity of a game.
So I stand corrected. It says so Starfield Standard Edition is included with Xbox Game Pass. Game discs include with physical purchase of Xbox Standard Edition. And game code included with physical purchase on PC Standard Edition. So pre-order bonus Constellation Edition early access details. Starfield is launching on September 6th. Check the full details. So wait, I'm still confused. So all physical editions include a code to the chosen platform. There are no physical discs. Yeah, there are no physical discs. So you can't get a physical disc. You'll buy the box, but inside the box is just going to be a code.
Right. No disc. No product.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Physical editions include a code for chosen platform. No physical disc. Well, then that's not physical. If I open up a physical box and there's nothing in it but a digital code, then it's not a fucking physical disc. It's a digital code.
Well, they wanted to make sure they could charge you $70, so they gave you the box with the pretty picture on it.
But it's so stupid. The question was, will the physical standard edition of Starfield Series X include a disc? They're like, hello. All physical editions include a code for the chosen platform. There are no physical discs. Hello, dipshit. There is no physical. Just like, no, you get a box with an empty thing and it's just a code. Like, what are we talking about here? No, the physical copy comes with no physical copy. It's just a code. Thanks. Appreciate that. Like, asinine. So there you go. No physical discs. It's impossible. No one will own a disc. For Starfield.
I'm telling you, bro. This is gonna be an unprecedented game release.
Why would I buy it? Why would I buy it?
This is my point. I don't know. Why would you buy it?
Why would I buy it? I mean, would you? Here's the reason I would buy it. If I want to do mods, I would have to buy it on Steam. And if I buy it on Steam, then I can get I can get the digital code for my Steam edition, and there's modders that will make the game better than the Xbox edition of the game or the Windows edition of the game. Just read, you can buy physical disc. But you can't buy a physical disc. Just read, you can buy a physical disc. I'm literally reading it. As of June 13th, it says, did they change it? You cannot buy a physical disc. There's no physical discs. The collector's edition comes with a code. Starfield Collector's Edition, the Starfield Constellation Edition, is available for purchase. It comes with several Starfield brand goodies, digital game download. There are no physical discs. You can. They clarified.
Discs, not dicks. Discs.
It comes with dicks. They just clarified. Can you send me? Can you send me standard edition? Send me a link, Reese. Where's the link? Or tell me where you got that from. Where did they say it? It's not that I don't believe you. I want to see it so I can give right information. Because it literally says on multiple sites that there are no physical copies. There's a physical case that when you open up, there's a digital. Thank you, Krebsy. Go to site. Game Informer. Okay. Confirmed Starfield Physical Standard Edition will include a disc as of June 26th. Okay. So Bethesda confirmed that physical versions of the Standard Edition of Starfield for Xbox will include a disc. The confusion began yesterday on June 25th when the Bethesda support Twitter account tweeted that all physical versions of the upcoming game would include a code instead of a disc. Right, which sounded fucking stupid. Because if you say all the physical discs are coming with a code, then that's not coming with physical anything. It's coming with a case, an empty case. So Starfield Standard Edition included with the Xbox Game Pass, game disc includes with physical purchase, and Xbox Standard Edition, game code included with physical purchase of standard PC Standard Edition. Okay. Additionally, Polygon received a statement from Bethesda representative, and the publisher did not return the original request for comment, saying that Starfield's product page has been updated to reflect the information. So there you have it. This would appear to settle the matter. The physical game collector can rest easy knowing that they can own a shiny Starfield disc come September 6th. Well, there you go, Sarge. Now you can buy a physical disc. There you go.
Oh, you can? Awesome.
Well, look.
Because it'll probably be the last one of its kind.
Yeah. I mean, literally, the tweet literally says, and it's stupid. That's why I said it's stupid, because it says, will the physical standard edition of Starfield X include a disc? And they're like, hello, all physical editions include a code for a chosen platform. Like, huh? That's not physical, dumbass.
It says a code, doesn't say disc.
What? It says there are no physical discs.
It says hello, all physical editions include a code.
Yeah.
He didn't say yes. He didn't say yes, it comes with a disc.
I know. And then at the end it says there are no physical discs. But now they fixed it. They fixed it, and now there's actually a disc for the standard edition. The code is on the disc.
It's a disc, but there's nothing on the disc.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
It's just a CD. It's just a disc in there with the word Starfield on it. Right?
How much
they put a 3 cent. They put a 3 cent disc inside the thing.
How much you want to bet that's what it is? It's just a code. Like the disc is the key. You put the key into the box, and you think you have a physical disc, but there's really nothing on the disc. It's just
there's nothing on the disc.
Right. You just bought the code. And they're like, okay, great. He bought the disc.
He bought the disc.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Oh man. All right. The last question was from Krebsy. He says, top 5 locations to go on vacation, to visit on your location before you die. Mine's Japan.
Okay.
Mine's Japan. Mine's New Zealand. Mine is I want to go to the UK. I haven't been to the UK. I want to go to Italy. And that's it. I only have 4 of the 5. I don't have a 5th one. 5th one is my new home when I build it in the future. That's my other vacation spot.
That's tough.
Oh, I guess Australia. I like to go to Australia.
That's a tough one.
Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Italy, and the UK.
I'll just for the sake of moving on, I'll just say the 7th, wherever the 7th wonders of the world are. I want to go there.
Okay. Boss says Japan, Bahamas, Greece, Rome, and Hong Kong. Yeah, the 2 places I really want to go to would be Japan and New Zealand. Those are the 2 places I really want. I'm not a beach guy type of thing, you know. Too much that wants to kill you in Australia? Yeah, but it would be cool to see those things that want to kill
you. Everything in Australia wants to kill you.
Everything. Japan just gives off good vibes. Or China, I guess, but Hong Kong is another place.
I smell a passport, bro. Krebsies, I smell a passport, bro. I smell them.
Yeah. And that is the last question for the show. Appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with us on the Generation X Gaming Podcast. We're here Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Episode 357 is in the can. We do appreciate you very much for coming out. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done it already. Hit the subscribe button so you know when we go live. I do other content Monday through Thursday. In the mornings, we go over the news. We literally just read the news and have conversation with chat. So if you like that type of stuff, come on by in the mornings on Monday through Thursday. And then if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. Helps us out here on the channel. Now, I just to give you a heads up, I think there's a show tomorrow for Lono on his channel. I don't know. We'll probably talk about the FTC thing, I would assume. And then Monday, I have a show in the morning. I might not have a Monday show in the evening. And then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So there won't be a Generation X Gaming Podcast. There won't be any streams, but I will try to upload some videos for you of like Let's Plays of stuff that I've done. So other than that, I do appreciate you very much for coming out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Game on, guys.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.